beaches to close. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns says residents will need to rally together.
They're prepared, but obviously it takes a big mental toll.
The region has been warned to expect nearly a metre of rain over 3 days.
Pope Francis' condition has improved after he suffered a significant health setback in hospital yesterday. The Vatican issuing an update saying the pontiff no longer needs a ventilator to breathe. A 16-year-old boy in Western Australia has been arrested over alleged threats to a mosque in southwest Sydney. Nine's Jack Hahn.
The comments quickly triggering a police investigation that stretched from Western Sydney to Western Australia. WA police picking up a 16-year-old boy at a home in Eton. The teen is accused of being behind the keyboard of comments suggesting a Christchurch-style attack at a mosque in Edmondson Park. No formal charges have been laid and the boy is assisting with the investigation. The Premier Chris Minns says the comments were very distressing, particularly during the month of Ramadan. Prayers are getting underway as usual this morning with a boost of police patrols in the area. At the Australian Islamic House in Edmondson Park.
The US markets have slipped in response to the introduction of 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and an extra 10% levy on China. The Dow opened down 1.8%, the Nasdaq down 1.5% following major sell-offs on Monday. And the West Australian Premier Roger Cook has apologised for calling US Vice President J.D. Vance a knob during a business function.
Yeah, obviously it was a light moment in a formal function, and I hope it was taken in the spirit in which it was intended. But yeah, if any offence was caused to the Vice President or to anyone who heard those comments, I do apologise.
Mr. Vance accused of inflaming an exchange between Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The stoush has seen the US pause military aid to the war-torn nation. President Zelensky saying he's willing to recommence negotiations in the wake of that. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Matty. Steve Smith isn't blaming the Champions Trophy scheduling on a 4-wicket loss to India in the semi-final overnight. The game was played in Dubai on the same ground India has played every one of its matches because of its refusal to play in Pakistan. The Australian captain says simply his side was outplayed.
It is what it is. India obviously played some really good cricket here. The surface kind of suits their style with the spinners that they've got and the seamers that they have at their disposal for a wicket like that.
India will now take on the winner of South Africa and New Zealand, with that semi-final to be played tonight. Well, the AFL is weighing up its options for when to play the rescheduled Gold Coast Essendon game after both Queensland matches of opening round were postponed. The league making the decision to cancel the games due to the risk of Cyclone Alfred. Meantime, Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track at Alberton this morning, with assistant coach Josh Carr set to address the media following the session. Let's get to soccer, and the round of 16 Champions League matches are underway. Aston Villa's on the verge of a huge result, currently leading Club Brugge 3-1 away with only a couple of minutes to play. Arsenal will take on PSV Eindhoven in a match starting in the next half hour. And in the NBL, Melbourne United through to the grand final after a thrilling 113 to 112 point win. That was against the Perth Wildcats overnight. They'll take on the winner of tonight's other semi-final clash between Illawarra and the South East Melbourne Phoenix. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 31 today, cloud clearing tomorrow 28, sunny for Friday 34, mid-30s over the weekend and low 30s into next week. Right now 17, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tyres. Grab 3 Falcon Zeek ZE 310R passenger car tyres and get the 4th tyre absolutely free. Experience top-notch performance with exceptional grip on both wet and dry surfaces. Steer your way to citydiscounttyres.com.au for even more great deals. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tyres.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years we, the Lynn Andrews team, have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easier for investors and tenants. Everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It's the way we do business. It's the Lynn Andrews way. For residential and commercial property management, we're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
After 34 years, Operation Flinders Foundation has their very own metro location in Richmond.
Such a great organisation. Now, this new space means Operation Flinders can expand its impact, strengthen programs and continue supporting young people on their journey to a brighter future. But they can't do it without your continued support.
Buy a virtual boot this March for Operation Flinders, with 100% of the funds going towards creating a dream future for the foundation. Small boots contribute $150, medium boots $300, and large boots contribute a generous $500 to the cause. Your generous contribution will be displayed as a permanent record in their new home.
Now, the boots may be virtual, but the impact is real. You can show your generous support today by searching operationflinders.org.
Steinborner Hyundai has always been well worth a trip, and now there's another great reason to visit. Hyundai's full range of hybrids. Steinborner Hyundai has a hybrid to suit every driver, from the hybrid i30, the Kona, the Tucson, as well as the all-new Santa Fe hybrid family-sized SUV. Experience the difference at Steinborner Barossa and Clare, with outstanding service and a great range of vehicles. And you'll see why. Steinborner Hyundai is well worth a trip. Steinborner.com.au.
Hey guys, did you know? From the beach to the bush and everywhere in between, Austrac campers will take you there with a little bit of luxury. So come and check one out for yourself today.
Austrac campers.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 5th of March, and Wednesdays mean Sean Fuse today. We had a little bit of a preview with Sean yesterday, just before the end of the program, regarding David Spears' court appearance. Now, that had a twist that we didn't anticipate. Sean took us through some of the scenarios. The adding back in of a charge wasn't something we necessarily had contemplated. So we'll get Sean's take on all that transpired in court yesterday after 7:30 today. Also, David Koch coming up on the show today. And Dr. Susan Close, the Environment Minister, who's now come to the party after last week. We heard from a raft of people in the Adelaide Hills and surrounds where there simply isn't access to water. Water carters are stretched to their limit and beyond, and people are in this desperate situation. They said the state government needs to do something and they need to do it fast. Well, yesterday, the Minister announced emergency relief for people in the hills and ways to access water, so we'll be talking to her about that after 8:30 today. But it is my great delight to welcome back to the program Mr. David Penberthy. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Good to be back. Sorry about my absence yesterday. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling like, you know what? I was awake for like 4 hours trying to get back to sleep with a stomach cramp. And the worst possible timing. The worst in this job. And then it becomes this psychosomatic thing where you're going, if I don't go back to sleep, I'm in more trouble than the early settlers. And then you're looking at the clock. It's almost like insomnia. Not that I've ever really suffered from insomnia, but I imagine that would be this sort of incremental anxiety that you get about, hang on, it's now 1 o'clock, it's now 2 o'clock, it's now 3 o'clock, it's now 4 o'clock. And I think it was about 4 o'clock when you got the text that no one in breakfast radio likes to get from your sidekick saying, I'm not coming in. Doesn't really happen that much with us, does it?
No, not really. No, not.
I reckon it's only happened like 5 times in 10 years.
Yeah, it's very, very rare. Well, there's been a few we've planned for because there have been kids involved.
Well, if there's a baby being born or something, you know,
it's pretty rare.
That's a reasonable reason not to come in.
It's a good adrenaline-thrilled rush when you go, all right, it's just me then.
Because it was just you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I went back to when I finally got back to sleep, I didn't wake up till 10 o'clock.
You obviously needed it then.
Yeah, bad. But then I woke up and I was totally fine.
So that extinguishes some of the conspiracy theories that listeners had.
Oh, what were they?
There's a Stone Temple Pilots gig that was on last night.
Hey, anyone who's accused me of going to the Stone Temple Pilots doesn't know that I'm a grunge purist.
That was one. Oh, no, there was another earlier around this time.
No self-respecting Mudhoney fan would go to the Stone Temple Pilots gig.
Well, that's that one extinguished. Also, Tom Wren set the homework for AFL top 8s. Few people thought you couldn't face it.
No, I've done it.
Oh, you have done it?
In fact, the first person, apart from you, to apologise again, the first person I texted after the show was Rennie yesterday, because I wanted to know. I'll get the text. Where is it? I said, Yeah. Hey, Tom, did you guys end up doing the top 8 this morning? Because I've got mine ready to roll. Tom said, no, mate, we only did mine, and we said we'd save yours and Will's for tomorrow. Mine's not, don't frame a market around mine, because I know nothing about football. Mine's a top 8 based on what I'd like to happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bit of positive thinking. We need a bit of that in the world at the moment.
Don't we ever?
Bit of positive thinking would be good.
So the footy season, so it starts Friday night now with the Sydney Hawthorn game in Sydney. Don't you think that the whole hoopla quality of round 0 has been exposed for what it is by one bad Cyclone event? You know, like, I'm not saying that the AFL had any choice but to cancel the opening game, the Brisbane Geelong game, and Saturday's still up in the air, isn't it? The Gold Coast game, or has that been cancelled too?
No, that's been cancelled too.
So, okay, so that's definitely off. So, no Queensland games at all in round 0 leaves you with 2 games in Sydney, in the city that doesn't care about AFL still. You know, not in a mass fashion, not in a Sydney turns up for the football fashion, because Sydney turns up for everything. Sydney's the most distracted, do whatever you want place in Australia. Don't you think the season is now starting with a bit of a whimper?
Completely. It's a total anticlimax. So it's not Thursday night football. It's going to be the big marquee event this year after its successful trial in the last couple of years. So it's a total fizzer. Yeah, I think. So we got an opening round with 2 games.
Yeah, I think it's bad. You know what the AFL should do? Just play to its strengths. Like, the thing that makes AFL great, schedule the best games possible in the cities where you know everyone's going to go to the football. Frame round 1 around a place where football is quite popular. Melbourne. You know, packed games at the MCG.
Well, you're sounding like a Victorian. I had to laugh.
But we can be part of that too. You know, give the Crows and Port good opening games that have got a bit of edge. I mean, they should have made Port Hawthorn the first game of the year.
No, it's all
just to wake everyone up.
It's framed around the cynical exercise of the NRL being in Vegas and try and take the focus when they're on their way back and there's nothing going on.
But I'll tell you what,
it's just ridiculous.
The NRL being in Vegas versus holding 4 games in 2 states where people don't really care that much about AFL. You know, it's sort of like the Barnum and Bailey circus has come to town. So to throw down the gauntlet, you're going to stand across the road in front of it playing the kazoo.
It's correct.
Like, it's pathetic.
Yeah. The AFL would be much better off just focusing on producing a great product and not worrying about what every other sporting code's
do. You remember that guy used to go through the Central Market? Bert. He was the one-man band. And he had a kazoo and a washboard. I'm trying to remember. He had a kazoo, a washboard, a bass drum, and he had those cymbals attached to his legs. I used to love that guy. Friday nights in the market, you'd hear this. Maybe he just go parading through the market like a maniac.
Maybe they get him on Thursday night. Maybe that's the alternative solution.
Well, good to be back.
Good to have you back. 15 after 6, news headlines are coming up in just a moment.
We're interrupting your show. Sorry. Because Binge Basic is now just $4.99 a month for 12 months. That's a bingillion hours of entertainment for less than $5 a month. Offer ends March 31st, so head to binge.com.au/4. New and returning customers only.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Hi, it's Wayne from Wayne Phillips Isuzu Ute. If you're in the market for a new ute or SUV, then you can't go past the award-winning Isuzu D-Max or MUX. Visit our showroom at Ranella to see our range of new and demonstrator vehicles and take one for a decent test drive. If you already own an Isuzu Ute, book it in for a service into our new state-of-the-art service centre at Lonsdale. Mention this ad and you'll get a free car wash with your service. For everything Isuzu Ute, think Wayne Phillips Isuzu Ute.
Discover outdoor living dreams you can touch at Stratco. Feel that fence, peruse that patio, and shut that shed. Come in, see our displays, and get expert advice on your next outdoor home improvement project. And for a limited time, get 20% off Stratco garages. Terms and conditions apply. So get into your local Stratco now and head into the new Stratco Richmond showroom at 249 Richmond Road, Richmond. However you bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
At Southern Cross Care, our residential care homes embrace a healthy ageing philosophy. Our Our highest priorities are our residents' safety, health, well-being and quality of life. With cafes, health and wellness centres, libraries, gardens and caring, compassionate staff, our homes are vibrant places to live. With beautiful locations across Adelaide, Mount Barker and the Fleurieu, there's a location nearby. For more information, visit southernCrossCare.com.au.
Better for life.
A farmer injured out on a remote station, a child with a snake bite, a motor vehicle accident on a dirt road, serious illness, heart attack or stroke. Your Royal Flying Doctor Service will come to the rescue of someone 15 times a day in South Australia.
From Adelaide to the York Peninsula, Eyre Peninsula, KI, Mid and Upper North, Riverland and more, they can't do their life-saving work without your help. So double up for the doc dates on today and it's your chance to make a huge difference.
For today only, your donation will be matched by some very generous partners, dollar for dollar.
In total, the target to reach is $300,000 to fit out new aircraft with medical equipment, and with your help, it's totally doable.
Today is Double Up for the Doc Day. Please give what you can. For more information, visit flyingdoctor.org.au. That's flyingdoctor.org.au.
Start your caravan or motorhome journey with confidence at Camper Agent RV Supercentre. For a limited time, we're offering massive savings and 3-year extended warranty on eligible pre-owned motorhomes from Kia and Talbot. There's also great savings across our huge range of brands, including Winnebago, Windsor, Corrimal and Adria. Make 2025 your best year ever. Visit Camper Agent RV Supercentre Parafield Gardens to find the perfect RV to start your adventure.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
90 minutes after 6, the Prime Minister has touched down in Queensland. He's there ahead of the arrival, of course, of the tropical cyclone Alfred. Millions of residents across the state's southeast and northern New South Wales are bracing for the storm's impact. The Category 2 system made its U-turn overnight and is tracking towards densely populated areas. Have you seen any images of the traffic jam of people lining up to get sandbags? We went across to one of these stations after 7 o'clock this morning, but they go back kilometres.
Yeah.
But people waited all day yesterday to get access to sandbags.
It's such a hugely densely populated part of Australia now, southeast Queensland. Like, it basically goes from Byron Bay, all the way up to Brisbane and beyond. Just, people everywhere and back into the hinterland and everything else. But it's probably going to, there's going to be a bit of and obviously, the number one issue here is that everyone's safe. And you'd hope that with the warnings being so far in advance, I mean, we've been talking about this since Monday, the message will be well and truly out for people to batten down the hatches and get out of the way if they're directly in the line of fire. But I don't think that there's a feasible way the Prime Minister could call the election now this Sunday. Like, if southeast Queensland has been smashed up and there's people walking around, in front of empty blocks where 2 days prior their house was standing, I don't think you can do the traditional, I'm up here helping, and well, he's got to go to Government House anyway.
Race to Government House.
I don't see how it happens. The optics of it would be wrong. It'll look self-serving. You can't be there with people saying, oh, we need help, we need help.
Does that push it back a week then?
Well, no, it pushes it back.
Oh, no, it's more than a week.
3 weeks, because the week after the 12th is Easter, and then you've got that crazy 3-day week with Anzac Day. Because we've got Easter, so you can't do it over the Easter weekend. But then the following Friday is Anzac Day. So you can't do it that weekend either. So it would have to become a May election, which means they'd have to bring out a budget as well.
They don't want to do that. Holdfast Bay Council is looking at cutting the speed limit on Jetty Road, Glenelg, from 40 k's to 30 k's an hour. It would also get rid of nearly 60 car parking spaces, all part of a plan to upgrade Jetty Road for $40 million. Under the concept, footpaths will be widened and greenery would be added along the popular shopping strip. The plan, which includes further traffic suggestions, will be released for public feedback on Monday of next week.
What do we think of that, folks? 30. That's
I don't know if you go much faster than that anyway, to be honest, whenever it's busy on Jetty Road. No. It's so congested.
I drove down Jetty Road on Sunday after we played putt-putt for the first time in a while. Jeez, it's busy. On a sunny day, Jetty Road is absolutely chock-a-block. Because normally I'm just down there at night for my steak-related needs. There was a massive typo in the Sunday Mail. Did you see last weekend? They did the 5 best steakhouses in South Australia, and they missed the best one. Barbecue Inn wasn't on it.
Oh, you've got connections.
I don't know how that even went to print.
You got.
Wouldn't happen on my watch.
You might have to write a column.
The Barbecue Inn is the best steakhouse in South Australia. End of story.
There you go. Ukraine's president has expressed regret after coming to blows with his US counterparts during a meeting at the Oval Office. Negotiations broke down on Friday, US time, when the pair disagreed on plans to strike a peace deal with Russia. Volodymyr Zelensky has now moved to defuse tensions after Donald Trump paused all aid to Ukraine yesterday. He's put out a lengthy statement, as the Ukrainian president. We'll read a bit of that out after 7 o'clock this morning.
One of the good things Trump's done is he's woken Europe up
completely.
So this is the Trump good idea, bad idea, appalling idea dichotomy, where I look at him and go, "You're kidding me," and then other times I go, "Well, I like that." But getting Europe to actually, emerge from its slumber,
spend money.
He's also made Sir Keir Starmer look competent.
Sir Keir's had a good week.
He was like the butt of many jokes until
Trump become a statesman.
Trump gave him a purpose.
I can't imagine Sir Keir, with his political leanings, gone into politics to become the big defence spending guy.
No,
but here he is,
a bit of a hand
the
wringer.
security of Europe guy.
The troll, about time.
But Donald Trump's made him into that.
What is kind of pathetic?
Mind you, I don't get JD Vance's position, the US Vice President, saying, Ukraine, what? What's the value of a security guarantee with 20,000 troops from a couple of countries, random countries that haven't fought a war for 40 or 50 years? Well, the only two that have offered troops are the UK and France. And they've both fought in US wars in the last 40 or 50 years. They're hardly random countries. They're traditional US allies.
Yeah.
And in being so dismissive, he's being critical of the very thing that the Trump administration has wanted, and that's Europe to start having a hand in these things.
I think if you gave Vance and Trump, between them, 20 questions about the key events of the 20th century in Western Europe, I'd reckon they'd be lucky to get 3 of them right. I mean, I think what we're seeing is this sort of moronic inferno of people who think that America is like, why would you go to Europe? We've got everything we need right here in Mar-a-Lago. There's this sort of hostility to, they're just burger-munching rednecks, basically.
The tariff thing's going well. We'll talk about that after 7 o'clock
really
as well.
well.
Did you see that extraordinary Fox News, as it was covering Trump talking about the announcing the tariffs on Canada for reasons that still remain totally elusive now, Mexico and increase the tariffs on China, the live ticker of the Dow Jones in the bottom right corner of the screen. It was
amazing.
Extraordinary. It was like a movie.
Yeah, it was
every time he spoke, it went down.
Bushfire spread.
It just kept going red
and to all the people who were going, see, Trump's a master negotiator. This is exactly what he had in mind. He was only ever going to threaten Mexico and Canada, and then the border was going to be fixed in a jiffy. He said he was going to do that, and he was never going to put the tariffs in place. Oh, hang on, he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's because he doesn't understand anything about economics.
He just believes tariffs are a good idea.
Everyone's going to pay through the nose for everything.
So the retaliation has come in part. Don't think it's going to be particularly successful, frankly, because of the size of Canada relative to the US. But Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has condemned the tariffs that were announced and brought into effect. He's accused the United States of launching a trade war that will harm American families.
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal. But Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Thousands of firefighters are battling a blaze that's ripped through more than 2,000 hectares of land north of Tokyo. More than 3,000 people have fled their homes as Japan faces its worst forest fire in 30 years. At least one person has died. Conditions frighteningly similar to what we've had here in South Australia and Japan at the moment, where they've had no rain and it's been seriously hot.
My daughter went up there middle of last year on some of those really super cheap Qantas tickets. I think pretty much like everyone who travelled in Australia in the last year went on one of those flights. It's the most visited country for Aussies now, Japan.
Is that right?
I think. It's certainly up there. But she said it was like 42 degrees every day, no rain, stinking hot. Like you just walk outside the hotel and like, But she said being a South Aussie was good training for it, but it was still just brutal.
Kindred spirits, Australians and Japanese. People don't usually talk about it, but they actually understand queuing, lines, order, and rules, which are all things that Australians really like.
Yeah.
You won't feel out of place.
But they beat us in the World Tidiness Stakes.
Completely.
What about how they clean up the stadiums?
Everything.
Have you ever seen the footage after the World Cup games? They will stay back and clean up every little piece of paper.
Yeah, a remarkable society.
But you're right. We do. If there was a queuing Olympics, Australia and Japan would be meddling.
You won't. There's no. There's no sort of...
and this is not a generalisation, but I tell you what, in round one of the queuing Olympics, if you came up against India, you'd be putting the 4 points away for that game.
Yeah, China. They get knocked out early.
Part of it, though, well, I was going to say the bigger the country, the harder it is, except the problem with that argument is Tokyo, biggest city in the world.
Yeah, that's right. 17.3 degrees outside in the city at the moment, heading for a top of 31. 28 tomorrow, 34 on Friday, 36 on Saturday, 34 Sunday, 33 Monday, 32 Tuesday. I'll race through it because, again, notably, there's not even a chance of rain.
No.
There's not, we're even talking about there might be 1 mil one day. There's just nothing. So that forecast takes us through to the 11th of March.
Have you seen downstairs? I've got that growing pile of rubbish and garden stuff in the back of the ute. And I was thinking yesterday, I should probably take that to the dump at some point because it might rain. And then I went, no, it won't. I was looking at the forecast thinking, I could leave that parked in the middle of, the parkland. It's not going to fill up with water at all for ages. Ridiculous.
Tom Brins in the 5AA Breakfast Studio to make room for renovations. Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Boys, just for those waking up this morning wondering what's happened with the cricket, the Aussies unfortunately are out of the Champions Trophy, so India beat them by 4 wickets. Pretty comprehensive there. So
was this a one-dayer?
One-dayer.
50 overs?
It was a second-strength side. It's not one of the bigger tournaments, hence they didn't take the likes of Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc and a few others. But disappointing nonetheless. But, boys, now we did them yesterday. Well, I did mine yesterday, but we need to catch up on your top eights because I put mine out yesterday, but I don't know if you've got yours ready to go for this year,
Well, let's
David.
go with Will's first because he actually knows what he's talking about.
Oh, no, not really. I found this really difficult.
It is hard, isn't it?
I have... So let's do it. This is the simplest way. I've got 2 out, 2 in from last year.
Right, yep.
The Bulldogs and Port, I'm dropping out.
Well, I had them out too, didn't I?
Oh, was it the same too?
Yeah, and I had Geelong out as well.
You had Geelong. I got Geelong in there, and I'm not betting against Geelong. Every year I have them out.
Yes.
I don't care if their average age is 66.
Yeah.
I'm having them in my top 8.
I think it is 66.
Collingwood and Adelaide to come in to that top 8.
Yeah.
I don't think Collingwood's going to last long as a force in the top 8. I think their future looks problematic. Port, simply, you can't have... This history tells you have this many injuries this early in a season, and it's just really... You have to have an incredible run of luck from that point on. I think the draw favours them early, but it just has bad... It has hairs on it at the start of this year for Port. And you talked me into the Crows yesterday, Rennie. They're not in my top 4, though, I can tell you that much.
Okay, so
unlike yours.
Well, you and I both have Collingwood and the Crows in then, so that's interesting. That's good. I had Freo in for Geelong as well. That was the one other one that I had. David, how did you go?
Well, I've got this dream scenario, no Melbourne sides in the top 8 and a showdown final. The top 8, Brisbane, Geelong, Freo, GWS, Sydney, Port, Adelaide, Gold Coast.
Well,
this is my... I want to see people...
Gold Coast,
sobbing uncontrollably at the Herald Sun building in Southbank when they realise that the only Victorian side in the finals
is Geelong,
is the Mighty Cats.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that happened, there'd be a lot of people outside Victoria pleased with that.
And they've got Isaac Rankin winning the Brownlow.
Well, if the Crows have a big year...
I don't think that's crazy at all.
No way. If they finish top 4, which is what I've said, and we've all got him in there, he's going to have a very big year.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Bring it on.
Good work.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
For the best price, quality and same-day service, trust Complete Windscreens. RAA approved, Main North Road, Prospect.
A warning to look out for falling branches. The SES attending almost 1,300 call-outs over summer. The prolonged drought is blamed for mostly gum trees suffering heat stress and dropping branches on houses, cars and roads. Just 290 millimetres of rain was recorded over the 12 months to the end of January, just over half of Adelaide's average annual rainfall. Meantime, after repeated pleas from residents and federal and state opposition politicians, the state government is moving to supply Adelaide Hills and the Fleurieu Peninsula residents with water where tanks have run dry. Collection points will be set up in a user-pay system at Woodside, Bracunga, Sandergrove, with one at Aldinga also under consideration. Cyclone Alfred is barrelling towards the southeast Queensland coast. Millions of residents are bracing for impact, as Nine's Matt Hepworth reports.
Tropical Cyclone Alfred is currently a Category 2 system around 460 kilometres off the coast. It's slowly heading west and expected to make landfall directly over Brisbane late Thursday or early Friday morning. With it will come destructive wind gusts of up to 155 kilometres an hour and more than 400 millimetres of rain. Preparations are underway, with at-risk island residents encouraged to leave and many government and council services standing down. Modelling suggests up to 20,000 Brisbane homes could be impacted by flooding.
Insurers say they're on standby as the cyclone edges closer to the east coast. Insurance Council of Australia CEO Andrew Hall says there are several ways communities should be preparing.
Inside the house, place important documents in watertight plastic bags or other kind of waterproof receptacles and put them somewhere safe. And of course, safety is a priority, so make sure that your emergency kit is ready and nearby.
A boost for disabled Australians in the supported employment sector. The NDIS Minister Amanda Rishworth will this morning announce a $14.6 million funding boost to help Australians with a disability. Specific details will be released during the Minister's tour of Bedford in the inner south. And the Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Richard Marles is in Adelaide today. He'll be at the Osborne Naval Shipyard with Premier Peter Malinauskas for an announcement later in the morning. Australia will soon ramp up the manufacture of intravenous saline fluids. More from Nine's Gabrielle Hodson.
IV fluids are critical to treating a wide range of illnesses to help maintain blood volume, and now the federal government has reportedly struck a $40 million deal to make more of it here. $20 million has been committed to expanding Baxter Healthcare, with the US multinational tipping in another $20 million. By 2027, Australia should be making 80 million units a year and hopefully avoid any more worldwide shortages. The federal government also says the dramatic expansion should create local jobs in Western Sydney.
Australia may be known for having a beach culture, but new analysis shows it's harder to find a local pool in the outer suburbs of our capitals. Royal Lifesaving Society Australia finding more than 6 million Australians are now more than 10 minutes drive at least from a public pool. Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Just put one in the backyard, Tom Wren.
Yeah, exactly right. That's the answer. Let's start with cricket. Australia's been knocked out of the Champions Trophy after going down by 4 wickets to India in their semi-final clash in Dubai. Half centuries to Steve Smith and Alex Carey helped the Aussies reach 264, but India chased down that total with 11 balls to spare. Virat Kohli winding back the clock in a man-of-the-match performance as he made 84. The other semi-final will be played tonight between South Africa and New Zealand. Let's get to football. Jesse Hogan will miss the start of the season with a broken thumb. The Giants forward jammed it in a door. The Coleman medal winner is expected to miss up to 3 weeks. Well, Melbourne United has advanced to the Championship Series in the NBL, defeating the Perth Wildcats by 1 point, 113 to 112. A three-pointer from the Perth captain levelled the scoreboard with just 3 seconds on the clock, but opposing skipper Chris Golding stepped up for 2 free throws right on the buzzer.
He broke their hearts in game 1. Chris Golding has booked Melbourne United into a Championship Series.
Audio thanks to ESPN. The Illawarra Hawks host the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix in the other sudden death game 3 semi-final clash tonight. Well, Aston Villa's made a great start to its round of 16 Champions League tie against Club Brugge following a 3-1 away win. Scores were locked at 1-1 with only 10 minutes to play before disaster struck for the home side with an own goal.
But then you get something like that. Mekala, own goal.
Audio thanks to Stan Sport. Marco Asensio then converting a penalty to hand Villa a 3-1 result heading into the second leg, which will be played next week. Other matches are just kicking off right now, including one between PSV Eindhoven and Arsenal. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's forecast now.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny 31 for Adelaide today, cloud clearing tomorrow 28, sunny Friday 34 and staying that way over the weekend, low 30s next week. Right now 18, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 7, you can jump into the conversation yourself at any time by calling on 8223 0000 or having your say on the police home care text line 044808 1395, or indeed as you watch along on the Facebook and YouTube live stream. Police and weather not too far away. And then after 7 o'clock this morning, we're going to head to Queensland at a sandbagging preparation site in Brisbane. These are the sites of some of the worst traffic snarls you've ever seen yesterday, as people lined up. Essentially, they just set the day aside. They pulled up early in the morning and were there until the afternoon into the evening to get sandbagged. So we'll talk about that in the preparation for Cyclone Alfred very, very shortly. But first, it's a Wednesday morning. It's after 6:30. It's time for etiquette. And if anyone participates, has their say and tries to solve the moral quandary of today, you can win yourself tickets to see London Calling at Gluttony. It's playing at the Flamingo at Gluttony in Rymble Park, home of the biggest shows this fringe. Tickets from gluttony.net.au. Morning, Lucy.
Good morning. We've been talking fashion this week with Donald Trump and JD Vance asking Volodymyr Zelensky why he doesn't wear a suit. Volodymyr Zelensky wears sort of similar looking, smart, casual, I would say, as we've seen him over the last 3 years.
Well, it's sort of war gear, isn't it?
If he's not in official war gear,
Camo
he's
chic.
in...
Yeah, camo chic.
Camo chic. There we go.
A bit like Dan Andrews in his North Face jacket.
Well, that was a time, wasn't it?
Oh, was it ever?
And then when he'd wear the North Face jacket or a suit jacket was an indicator as to his press conference news.
Yeah, that's right.
But millennials and Gen Z, when they are wearing suits, occasionally they think it's okay to wear perhaps sneakers with a suit or formal shoes but no socks with a suit. So I'm wondering what proper shoe etiquette and sock etiquette is now okay if you're wearing a suit.
I don't think it's just I think there's a type of old guy that wears sneakers with a suit, like Larry David wears sneakers with a suit.
Yeah.
But is he one to follow for fashion advice?
The old guy who was a creative at Clemenges in the 1970s is wearing sneakers.
Yeah. That's a look that's endured.
Yeah, the guy you see coming out of Dillon's on a Saturday afternoon on the parade with 4 books that he's just bought. He's got the sneakers on.
But if you're going to a wedding, would you do it?
No, because I think one of the great things about suits is there's a reason suits look the way they do. They take. I'm someone who likes having the guesswork taken out of things, which is why I've got 2 types of clothes. Really good ones and really bad ones.
Is that why you're wearing thongs today?
Yeah, because I work in radio. I don't need to come in here trussed up like cock of the walk Alan Jones with the handkerchief and the 3-piece suit and what have you.
I'm of the view though that if you aren't respecting the dress code in its entirety, it does come off a bit. Not entitled, but like, why do the rules apply to me? Rules of society, I guess. No hard and fast rule, I suppose.
The one that upsets me, and I'm worried I might say this and Will might disagree, but the no sock thing. Sorry, I can't do it. But is that a younger guy's thing? Would you ever do the no sock thing with a suit?
I've never not worn socks with shoes before. Well, you mean like the ankle socks that people wear?
Yeah. Like when you see guys at the races. They've got the short trouser.
Oh, they roll up their trousers and then wear sort of boat shoes or loafers without socks.
Yeah, no socks.
I have seen formal shoes without socks in those instances.
There's a role for the sock.
Paul in Pennington, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. This drives me bonkers, this whole fashion scenario with the with the shorter trousers and no socks. Now, a man's business suit is designed to be a business suit with the trouser going all the way down to the shoe. Anyone wearing anyone wearing shoes without socks and having their ankles exposed, to me, is just, do yourself a favour, stay home. Don't go. And if you do buy a suit that has 4 inches of the trousers missing, do you get a discount for that? It's just not on in my opinion. Okay, a classic suit is a classic suit. Wear the suit and show it respect. Otherwise, don't wear it at all. That's my opinion.
That was almost Care Alert Smart Dial.
That was excellent, Paul. Paul raises a good argument similar to the ripped jeans. If you don't get all of your jeans because they're purposely ripped at the knee, do you get a discount for that? Do you get a discount for shortened suit pants?
Well, do you keep wearing them too?
Do you pay more, I think, if anything?
Yeah, because they're purposely damaged.
It's designer.
I've seen some jeans, like my daughter got some, and she came over and I said, "Are they new jeans?" She said, "Yeah."
Yeah,
and they were literally torn all the way down.
Yeah.
Like someone in the factory had just been...
Yeah, there's a whole new argument for ripping jeans, I think. But as Paul said, he's on board with you. There is a role for the sock.
Yeah.
Amber in North Haven's called in. Morning, Amber. You there, Amber?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I didn't know I'd be up so quickly. Now, my dear father, God bless his soul, taught me something when I started work. You dress for the job you're going for. If you're going for a job as a secretary, you dress so you can start straight away. If you're going for a job as a labourer, it's the same. Dress so you can start away. If you're going to the White House, you dress appropriately in a suit. And that is from the words of my dear father, I think you dress for where you're going to.
It was sage advice from your late father, Amber. He sounds like a very classy man. Lovely call. That's a lovely call.
Clothing etiquette. As Jess in the booth just pointed out, sometimes it's just personal preference.
No, I think it's a sign of moral decay, frankly.
Isn't it?
Let's not be non-judgmental about this.
Doesn't fashion just evolve every 6 months into something increasingly repulsive and ridiculous? Like, isn't this just the cycle of life? Like, it's always been thus.
Yeah, there's always fads that come and go. Like, I lived through the 1980s. That was pretty weird. One day after Like a Virgin came out, every girl at school turned up covered in taffeta wearing beads and
what about
holding giant crucifixes.
In the tiniest, tightest shorts in the world during the 70s?
Well, look back at some of the football coverage.
Well, and now cargo knee-length shorts are coming back, I've been told, on the weekend. Someone told me cargo pants are back.
I don't think there was a single man in Australia who had any shorts that weren't King G Tropicals. Now, neither of you know what King G Tropicals were.
We're both looking blank.
King G Tropicals came in a variety of colours, and they were sort of... They were up too high and they were too tight in all the wrong places, but everybody wore King G Tropicals. If you look back at footage from barbecues from 1985, every bloke in Australia is wearing King G Tropicals. I might even have some in the back room.
I was going to say, I wonder what happened to the old King G Tropicals of Australia.
Andrew in St Clair's on the line. Morning, Andrew.
Yeah, well, I've turfed all my King G Tropicals, but I did have quite a few pairs, David, in multiple colours. And they were, in fairness, Dave, they were something you could actually sort of you could wear them to a classy barbecue even, or or in the garden.
Yeah,
but yeah, they were
like
a little bit revealing.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a bit too tight, a bit too short.
Yeah, yes. But in regards to the suit, prior to COVID, I'd sort of wear a suit most days for work, like a lot of people. The suit still has a purpose, but it's used up. It's like I wear jeans a lot more to work now, and I still wear a business shirt, but the tie is pretty much dead.
Yeah,
I've got about 80 nooses sitting in my wardrobe, and just nothing for them to go on.
When's the tie coming out now?
Since COVID.
Is it? Do you know? Is it like if you're wearing a tie, you're going to a funeral or a wedding these days?
Yeah,
mate?
That's exactly what they have been used for, David. Yeah, nothing more at this stage.
All right, from St Clair to Grange. Nick, good morning.
Morning, guys. Yeah, sneakers with suits ridiculous. It's like no socks with shoes when you go out.
But I've got a hypercolour T-shirt, Dave, which you probably would remember. I've got a hypercolour T-shirt I found it from late 1980s. So if you perspire a lot, everyone would know because the colour would change on your T-shirt. Yeah.
Whoever thought? What were they thinking? The person at the hypercolour marketing meeting came in and said, "We've invented a T-shirt where if you got sweaty armpits, everyone's going to be able to see them because the whole T-shirt's going to glow and change colour." It's like, let's make thousands of them.
And they sold really well. Everyone had one. Yeah.
You two guys, you don't know what you're missing in 1985. It was all happening fashion-wise.
Will might have had a couple of years old.
Oh, no, there were still hypercolour T-shirts
boy.
getting around when I was in primary school. As a little kid, I thought it was really cool, actually.
You never enjoyed the magic of the King G Tropical, though, mate.
No, I don't know that one.
Thankfully for you. Hey, Paul in Pennington with his emphatic plea that the sock does play an important role. We'll send Paul off to the fringe.
Everyone who's texted through about Zelensky wearing a suit and showing respect to the White House might want to go back and have a look at pictures of Winston Churchill turning up to the White House during World War II. Just tell me what he was wearing, because I'll tell you it wasn't a suit. Thank you, Luce. Appreciate it. 0448 08 1395 Police Home Care text line. You can call us too on 8223 0000. Let's check traffic. Come back with police and weather in just a moment. FIVEAA House, the leaders in transforming your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will, and welcome back, David. Road's looking really good today, smooth as a baby's. In fact, in the Parklands, bit of work to keep in mind. However, Green Hill Road near Peacock Road, Highgate Cross Road near Hampstead Avenue has works too. A little bit slow at Kent Town for works on Decatable Terrace, that's just near Rundle Streets. Early morning cameras still about though. You'll find them Decatable Terrace in the Parklands and Edinburgh Road at Edinburgh. Look for the RAA sign at over 400 independent RAA approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Tickets for the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery are over 80% sold. It's not too late. You could win the life-changing $3.5 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize in Somerton Park. Fully furnished with $500,000. You could be living the dream mortgage-free. HomeLottery.com.au. Life-changing prizes. Life-changing impact. HomeLottery.com.au. Licence M14673.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from FIVEAA House. Our FIVEAA House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with FIVEAA House. FIVEAAhouse.com.au.
This March long weekend, experience more for all at the 2025 Adelaide Cup.
And it's on this holiday Monday, March 10, with Morphettville Racecourse transforming into South Australia's ultimate entertainment festival. Non-stop racing, fashion and live performances all day long.
Tickets start from just $35 plus upgrade your day with premium hospitality packages from trackside to VIP experiences. You can bring the kids too because the Family Zone has a petting zoo, jungle sports, face painting and free fairy floss.
And then as the sun sets, Sneaky Sound System take the stage for an epic evening performance. So don't miss out. Secure your Adelaide Cup tickets now at morphettville.com.au. Gamble responsibly.
Hey guys, did you know that in every Austrac campus camper, they come with a fridge, solar panels, hot water system, portaloo, charger, inverter, boat rack, midgie-proof meshing, 16-ounce canvas, fully enclosed annex.
Austrac Campus! Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes to 7. Let's check in with the Weather Bureau on what lies ahead. Hint, it won't be rain. Simon Timke at the Bureau joins us. Morning, Simon.
Morning, Will. Morning, David.
More hot and dry, it looks like.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A little bit windy too today. We've got a south to southeasterly change moving across during the morning, and I think those winds will freshen up a little bit during the afternoon. So a little bit windy during the afternoon. Likely to have some gully winds produce some stronger and gusty winds through the overnight period too, about the hills and southern suburbs. But a warm day ahead, 31 degrees for the city, currently 18.8 degrees. Temperatures around the suburbs, 33 for Elizabeth, 30 for Glenelg, 28 degrees for Noarlunga and Mount Barker today. Those southeasterly winds make Thursday a little bit cooler, 28 degrees, but then as we head towards the long weekend, it gets hot again and more sunshine. Sunny days ahead for Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, and temperatures in the mid-30s, 34 for Friday, 36 for Saturday, 34 for Sunday, 33 for Monday. So plenty of sunshine and a little bit hot over the long weekend, guys.
Yeah, still certainly
Crazy.
feels like summer. Thank you, Simon. Let's head to Sapole. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad joins us. Morning, Kimberly.
Good morning, Will and Dave.
You've had a crash involving a drink driver.
Yeah, it was just before 1 o'clock this morning. Police and emergency services were called to Shepherd's Hill Road at Blackwood after a Holden sedan crashed into a Stobie pole. Luckily, the driver and his passenger weren't injured, but that driver was breath tested and allegedly provided a blood alcohol reading of 0.109. So that driver's a 24-year-old man from Bel Air. He's been reported for drink driving, issued with a 6-month instant loss of licence, and he'll be appearing in court in a couple of months.
Kimberly, also, a bloke's been arrested with some bolt cutters at Vale Park Caravan Park. What was he up to with them?
Yeah, just after midnight, police were patrolling around the caravan park on Harris Street, Vale Park. They noticed a man was hiding between the caravans and he was holding a pair of bolt cutters. On seeing police, he's attempted to run off but was quickly arrested. He was searched and found in possession of wire cutters, a torch, and also these bolt cutters. They're not exactly sure what he was up to, but that man's a 41-year-old from Adelaide. He's been charged with being unlawfully on premises and your favourite, going equipped to commit an offence. He'll be refused bail and he's appearing in court today.
Had going equipped written all over it, that one. Good stuff, Kimberly. Kimberly Broad there from Sapole.
All right, let's have a look at the police home care text line. Lots coming in over the course of the last 15 minutes on 0448 08 1395.
Jane with a Y on the question of Volodymyr Zelensky's outfit says, how's JD Vance ridiculing Zelensky for not wearing a suit? What about Elon Musk prancing around with his kids and his T-shirts in the White House? He doesn't appear to have respect for anything or anybody. Thank you for that, Jane. Quite a few along those lines. There's another one here from Michael saying, I still have all my 1970s serviette-shaped tyres, and I'm just wondering, are they back in fashion yet?
That'll come back, surely, at some point.
Some of them are so wide you could probably make like a cushion cover out of them. Al Grasby. The Al Grasby tie.
Extraordinary moment in time. That tie, it hasn't come back, though, has it?
No.
It's been 50 years.
Short tyres.
It might be done. Short tyres.
Those 1950 sort of ad-man type tyres.
Short tyres.
Don't have the tips.
Thin tyres, fat tyres. Tyres rotate a lot, but those ones haven't come back.
Nobody wants to look like they're, an extra in Don's party.
Apparently not. Not yet, anyway.
Jim in Golden Grove says, morning, guys. Lucy, did knee-length cargo shorts go out of fashion? I guess I'm not cool anymore. Thank you for that, Jim. And Lynn says, if men wore activewear that was as revealing as what some women wear, they would be denigrated for it. Some young women verge on the obscene. Good stuff, Lynn. And Phil says, my wife went to a funeral a couple of weeks ago and some people were wearing their port power tops. Well, people grieve in different ways.
Activewear is such an interesting phenomenon because it's become such an accepted sort of part of dressing in the West. You go to religious sites in Southeast Asia or on the subcontinent and places, and they now have people there standing there with these. You don't rent them; they give them to you like pieces of fabric designed for when Westerners come and they're doing a walk and they're doing a temple tour and they think, I'm going to be walking 6Ks today, and women often wear activewear. They'll go, well, you're going to have to wear this as you enter the sacred site, and they're so prepared for it now. They've just got people standing there ready to say, oh, here you go, before you go in, can you wrap this around yourself? Because there's such a huge cultural divide between what's considered acceptable clothing.
Same with head coverings in a lot of places.
Yeah.
You're not meant to go into church, like even some Catholic churches in the Americas, you're meant to wear some sort of scarf over your head. It's funny, isn't it? Because I think Westerners sort of have this view, particularly in a country like ours where the dominant answer in the census is no religion. A lot of think, I might go and have a look at what's going on inside that building.
It's the dominant,
actually a holy place. You don't just wander in there in your havies and your boardies and sit down on a pew and go, oh, this is nice.
It's the dominant individual answer, though, isn't it? It's not, as a group, there are still more religious people than non-religious people. I don't think non-religious is greater than 50%.
But it's the biggest group
But it's
now.
the biggest individual group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're saying combined there are more religions.
Yeah.
Given as I don't know. Let's check that out.
Yeah, I
check it out during the 7 o'clock news.
I'll have a look at it in the most recent census, which of course was a lot of fun to put together. 8223 0000. Still lots of people texting in about what Vladimir Zelensky was wearing. I just can't help but feel it should be a few dot points lower on the list of priorities when it comes to talking about what's going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah. I think, too, the idea that Donald Trump and his gang of all people would give someone a lecture about rudeness, because they've always been big on civility.
Oh, completely.
Those guys.
Are you clear on what Canada's done wrong?
No. Oh, well, they didn't have enough people at the border.
Yeah, but remember they did that?
And fentanyl was coming in.
Yeah, but remember they did that, and Trump said, "Oh, well, this is why we do what we do, because we get responses." And they did it, and now they're still getting tariffs.
What does it all mean for Australia? How are we going to go with the steel and the aluminium, do you think?
I think it means we're stuffed. But I do wonder, what's the value of the free trade agreements that have been signed? They're clearly not worth the paper they're written on.
Well, NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Association.
We have a free trade agreement with the US.
There's 3 members in that: Canada, Mexico, and the United States. They're in the middle of an unprecedented trade war.
5AA News is coming up. We've got a wrap of the morning stories coming up next, including water relief for people in the hills and on the Footy that have been just left in a desperate situation. Water carters stretched to their absolute limits. We'll talk about that after 7 o'clock. Also, the opposite end of the weather spectrum in the northeast part of Australia, where Cyclone Alfred looks like it's going to bucket down 600 odd mils over the next couple of days. Sandbags are being handed out. We'll head there as well. And then Sean Fuster, who was in court yesterday when David Spears made an appearance and was hit with another charge. That's all ahead.
G'day, Alan Gray here. Talking mechanic to mechanic, one of the toughest parts of our job would have to be tracking down the most reliable four-wheel drive parts. At Terrain Tamer, we have Australia's largest range of four-wheel drive parts, all designed, engineered and tested to outperform the original. Hey, righto guys. Talk to one of Terrain Tamer's army of trained parts interpreters who all speak fluent four-wheel drive, or jump online and have over 60,000 parts at your fingertips, delivered anywhere in Australia. Go to terraintamer.com.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to not deal with organising all the trades? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? 2, the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. Plus, we can manage the installation and all sub-trades at a fixed price. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhannakitchens.com.au.
Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tiled roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock-solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Now at Harvey Norman, no deposit, 60 months interest-free on a Latitude Go MasterCard and participating Latitude credit cards from Latitude Financial Services. Available on eligible purchases using an equal monthly payment plan. Monthly credit card fee currently $10.95 applies. Plus receive a bonus Harvey Norman gift card when you spend $1,000 or more on interest-free purchases. Shop furniture, bedding, laptops, TVs, fridges, appliances and more. New customers must be approved. Minimum financed amount $1,000. T's and C's, credit card fees, charges and exclusions apply. Now at Harvey Norman.
Ignition for Men. Adelaide's home of impeccable class and style offer a range of suits by leading Italian brands, including tailor-made suits using the finest Italian fabrics from Zegna, Canali, Zignoni, Holland and Sherry, along with many more. Special occasions or business, stand out in a tailor-made suit by Ignition for Men. Best fit, best brands. Call into 54 Paynham Road, Stepney, or visit ignitionformen.com.au.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
Arbor Vitae health supplements are now available at Chemist Warehouse, Australia's cheapest chemist. arborvitae.com.au.
Arbor Vitae.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Chipped windscreen. RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
Some supermarkets in Queensland's southeast have been forced to place limitations on bulk purchases as the cyclone approaches. Petrol stations have been inundated as residents stock up on fuel in preparation to use for their generators, with Cyclone Alfred bearing down on the Queensland coast. Queensland Premier David Crisafulli says they're doing what they can to ensure no one goes without.
We have amended regulations to allow resupply in 21 local government areas to be conducted 24/7. That's never happened before a disaster.
Queensland schools stay open today, but families are being warned some childcare centres may close their doors. The state government here has announced emergency drought measures as some people in the hills head to sports clubs to have showers. They'll set up 4 temporary user pays bulk water collection points for people whose tanks have run dry. Meantime, the State Emergency Service issuing a warning about heat-stressed trees dropping branches. They've had 1,277 call-outs over summer. A man has been caught drink driving after being stopped at North Brighton last night. Police stopping a Hyundai sedan on King George Avenue at a driver testing station at 7 p.m. Meantime, Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says a crash on Shepherd's Hill Road at Blackwood, where a car hit a Stobie pole, also resulted in a drink drive detection.
Luckily, the driver and his passenger weren't injured, but that driver was breath tested and allegedly provided a blood alcohol reading of 0.109. So that driver's a 24-year-old man from Belair.
The federal government has allocated almost $15 million to boost job opportunities for people with a disability. 33 organisations will receive grants to open more employment opportunities and pathways. Social Services Minister Amanda Rishworth saying it'll help break down barriers for those looking for work.
People with disability often want to have meaningful work and have career aspirations just like the rest of us. And so it's really important to recognise that doesn't change if you have high support needs.
A 16-year-old boy has been arrested in Western Australia for making a threat to a Sydney mosque online. It's understood the comments reference the Christchurch shootings in New Zealand, which killed 51 people, the teenager helping police with inquiries. Pope Francis' condition has stabilised after suffering 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure. The pontiff in hospital for 18 nights with double pneumonia. Nine's Europe correspondent Hannah Sinclair says his condition appears to be improving.
No longer needs to use a ventilator to breathe, so that is certainly good news after he suffered 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure caused by a significant build-up of mucus.
Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukraine is ready to work with the US after a fiery meeting with President Donald Trump at the Oval Office. President Zelensky is moving to defuse tensions after Washington pours military aid to Ukraine. And a 25% tariff on goods entering the United States from Canada has kicked in. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promising similar tariffs of their own.
Canadians are reasonable and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake.
Trudeau saying there's been a 97% drop in seizure of fentanyl. Donald Trump criticising Canada for allowing the drug into the US. Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matthew. Australia has been knocked out of the Champions Trophy after going down to India by 4 wickets in their semi-final clash overnight in Dubai. Set 265 to win, India chased it down with 11 balls to spare. KL Rahul bringing up the win in style.
Down the track, finish it off with a 6.
Audio there thanks to Amazon Prime. India will now face either South Africa or New Zealand, who will play in the other semi-final tonight. Meantime, South Australia's cricketers will head to Victoria today as they prepare for tomorrow's Sheffield Shield clash. A win would guarantee SA a home final. To football, Sydney and Hawthorn will now have the honour of launching the AFL season on Friday at the SCG as 2 matches in Queensland make way for a cyclone. Tomorrow's clash between Brisbane and Geelong, as well as Saturday's game between Gold Coast and Essendon, will be rescheduled. Let's go to soccer. Arsenal's off to an absolute flyer in its Champions League clash against PSV Eindhoven, currently leading 3-0 about half an hour into the opening half. Real Madrid is 1-0 up against Atletico Madrid, while earlier Aston Villa beat Club Brugge 3-1. To basketball, Melbourne United's into the NBL Grand Final following a 113 to 112 point win against the Perth Wildcats in their semi-final series. And a good result for Aussie Madison Inglis, winning her qualifier against Japan's Ayo Ito 7-6, 7-5, meaning she's now into the main draw for Indian Wells, which is widely considered the fifth major in the tennis world. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Checking 5AA's traffic.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Looking really good for the running today. Accident breakdown free, so a great start to a Wednesday. A few works at Highgate, Cross Road near Hampstead Avenue. Bit of activity at Surrey Downs, Hancock Road near Sylvan Crescent. And do have works at Toorak Gardens, which are slow in the morning. Down to 40 there, Kensington Road near Port Rice Road. You will find ever-pesky cameras, Fitzroy Terrace, North Adelaide and Glenburn Road at Hectorville this morning. The fantastic bedroom sale is on now at Fantastic Furniture. Shop in-store at one of their 88 locations or online for huge savings on bedroom furniture and mattresses. Hurry, don't miss out. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 31 today, cloud clearing tomorrow 28, sunny on Friday 34, staying there over the weekend, low 30s next week. Right now it's 17. 5AA, always Adelaide.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 7, former Liberal leader David Spears back in court yesterday. Had a drug charge against him reapplied, one that had been dropped previously. Sean Fuster will explain it all after 7:30 this morning when we go around the courts. David Koch coming up a little bit later. Also, the Environment Minister, Susan Close, is going to be on the program with regard to a story that kicks off our news wrap of the morning, because it's a story that developed here on 5AA as we were contacted by desperate residents of the Adelaide Hills who simply couldn't get access to water. Water carters were run off their feet. They were waiting weeks to get access to water. The big dry was meaning that parts of the Adelaide Hills that were off the grid were becoming entirely unlivable. Well, yesterday, the state government announced an emergency response to those conditions in the hills and some of the FIVEAA regions.
As a result of the extreme dry conditions, there have been reports of very high levels of demand for water carting in the Adelaide Hills and FIVEAA region, as well as reports of people having to cart in water for the first time in more than 30 years on their properties.
So what are they going to do? They're going to establish user pays bulk water collection points in the hills for people that are not connected to SA Water, whose tanks have run dry.
So that means the customers have to pay, the residents or the farmers have to pay for the water.
They have to pay, which I don't think they've been upset with. It's more the access they've got issues with.
Well, they're not connected, so yeah, it's a special one-off thing.
Well, the fact that they have to go and find a way to go and cart it back too. I know a lot of people that spoke to our program were saying, well, this is less about there's water around, we just need more trucks to be able to get it to us. The water carters only have so many trucks. SA Water has heaps. And so the residents were all saying this is the way this should be fixed. The way the government is doing it is saying there are going to be collection points that are going to be staffed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m, 7 days a week, starting from tomorrow. They'll be at Ridge Road, Woodside, Kaneki Road, Sander Grove, Peggy Buxton Road, and there's going to be another one, they haven't worked it out yet, somewhere on the FIVEAA, maybe around Aldinga as well.
They definitely need one down there. Because, you know, when we had... Because we broke the story on Breaking at 8 about a month ago. We had Rebecca Sharkey on. She was the first politician to raise it, and obviously a lot of the people who were affected by it are in her seat. But, yeah, I've got to say, I really, really massively rate Rebecca Sharkey as a MP who's got no sort of baggage as a member of either party. She seems to be someone who just goes, well, here's a problem, can we try to fix it? But I think she was of the view, when we had her on with the minister the other day, that the state government was dragging the chain on this. And the opposition, too, they were up and about on it. The shadow minister was last week saying this actually needs more concerted action. But leaving the FIVEAA off the list looks like a bit of an oversight.
Well, they just haven't worked out where. They've flagged that they're going to have one in the FIVEAA, but they just haven't worked out exactly where it's going to be. I think the only people that matter are those that are in the hills, not connected, that effectively living off the grid. What do you make of this? Is this convenient? Will it alleviate your issues? There are people out there that go, hang on, none of those collection points are near me. Tell us your thoughts. Review the state government's emergency response to those conditions in the hills. 8223 0000. We'd love to hear from you. It stands in stark contrast to what's happening in other parts of Australia, and so often isn't that just the case? It's drought conditions here and people struggling to get access to water, whereas you go to Brisbane and there are lines of cars for kilometres snaking through roads as people line up to get sandbags ahead of the Cyclone Alfred hitting. Let's head there now. Georgia Costi for Channel 7 Sunrise program joins us. Georgia, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So, Georgia, what's the latest? When's the cyclone expected to hit, do you think?
Well, we did just get an update from the Weather Bureau a short time ago. At this stage, there's still no definitive timeline. We're thinking maybe late on Thursday, early Friday. But what is interesting is for the last week or so, we have been hearing that Brisbane is going to cop the brunt of it, be the real centre of this system. But the Weather Bureau just told us a short time ago the latest modelling is now showing the Gold Coast, particularly the southern part of the Gold Coast, may be most at risk. So that changes things a little bit because obviously on the Gold Coast, they've got the waves, they've got the coast, and that just comes with even more damaging effects than the suburbs that are more inland in Brisbane.
So what's happening at the moment? Are many people actually trying to get away from the coast and head inland?
Not really. I think what most people are doing is just embracing where they are, but taking all the precautions. For example, we're here at Boondall, the Brisbane Entertainment Centre this morning, and even before the sun came up, there were just scores of people filling up sandbags. We spoke to one man who'd actually been here since 1:30 in the morning. So people, they don't really have anywhere to go if everyone was all rushing to different directions. So they've just accepted, hey, this is a thing that could be happening. We may as well take all the precautions because, to be fair, there has been a lot of warning and they do still have a couple of days to get it all together if they need to.
So you're at one of those sites right now, Georgia. Is it still, how long are people having to line up as we speak? So Wednesday morning at about just before 8 o'clock.
There's about an hour waiting time, I would say, right now. When we first got here, things were moving really smooth, but a short time ago, they actually ran out of sand. So we were seeing people get turned away or choosing not to wait and to go try a different sandbagging station. There are trucks just coming in now, so they'll dump that big load of sand, thankfully. The line is starting to move a bit quicker, but I would say if you are planning to come to Boondall at this time of the morning, maybe give it at least an hour. But yesterday there was wait times of up to 5 hours, so definitely the sooner you can get here, the better.
Unbelievable. Are you a local, Georgia? Is this something you've had to prepare for yourself personally?
I live on the Gold Coast. I've driven up to Brisbane this morning, and yes, we are preparing. My house is on the back of some mangroves, so it's not too bad. We're not right along the coast, but there is still a risk of flooding there. So we're just doing the usual things that everyone's been told to do, bringing outdoor furniture inside, a few sandbags, but I'm pretty lucky. I'm not as bad off as some people.
Yeah, it's an amazing part of the world. Hard for us down here to relate to it in non-tropical South Australia. So all the best for the coming days, Georgia. And we might check in with you again over the coming 48 hours. Thanks for your time.
I thought it was a really good point that Lachie Neal's father made on the program yesterday in talking about, we talked about the AFL game, and he was very strong before the AFL had come out and said that it was cancelled, that it should be cancelled. He was going to be flying up for it. He just said he couldn't believe it, the decision hadn't been made. But one of the things he made, and it was a great point that we forget so often, as people were knocking around all these alternate scenarios, or maybe the Brisbane Lions, they should play the game in Geelong, or play it at the vacant MCG, or people were saying this morning, Adelaide Oval, make it free and get a big crowd along. He made the point, you know what, these guys are husbands with kids, a lot of them. They kind of don't want to be interstate when there's a cyclone hitting their house.
Yeah, totally.
Like their priority isn't probably footy this week.
Yeah, and it's not just the players, it's all the
everyone.
And in terms of the family impact, it's the older people, it's the coaches, the assistant coaches, the trainers,
officials,
medicos,
all sorts.
Yeah.
A few people wanted to call in with regard to the state government's response on the water shortage issue. Simon in Kangarilla, one of them. Morning, Simon.
Hey, how you going?
Good, thanks, Simon. How are you guys affected by it down in Kangarilla?
Well, Kangarilla Meadows and there's a lot of other suburbs down there are purely on rainwater only. We're on septic. The only really main things we've got connected is power. So obviously when the power goes out, we've pretty much got no water. The problem we've got at the moment is a lot of the trucks that can deliver water to us are at least a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks wait because they're that busy because they've never had this sort of dry temperature for a very long time. So these collection points, although they might be good, how do we get the water from there to to our houses so we can actually shower and do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll ask the Minister when she comes on, because as things stand, we're not sure what the arrangements are for areas like Kangaroo. So no detail on that yet.
Thank you, Simon. Let's head to the Inman Valley. Carlos, good morning.
Morning, lads. I'm about down to my last sort of 5,000 litres. I managed to get a water carter, but he told me one of the issues he's having is that he's just come on to the business new, and the government is stuffing around with certification to carry potable water. So he said to me, I can get water. It'd be just tap water from, a normal SA line, but if I wanted a certification or if I wanted the water to be 100%, they have to get a certification, and the government seem to be dragging their feet on it.
A certification, that just sounds like an unnecessary level of bureaucratic nonsense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I look, at the end of the day, 5,000 litres is not a lot of water, and we're sort of now looking at possibly just having to leave the house or go and stay with friends or do whatever we need to do. I was even thinking of trying to get a couple of IBCs and load up for 2,000 litres or 2,000 litres at a time, and then take it up my own property and do it myself. But this gentleman's obviously got a truck and he can cart water, but seems to be, maybe you guys can look into that.
Yeah, good point.
Good on you, Carlos.
Thanks, Carlos.
We will have the Minister coming on a little bit later, so if you've got questions for Susan Close, fire them through and we'll put them to her after 8:30 today. 0480 1395 is the number.
There's a good text here from Ian and Jenny Lambert, who live in Walker Flat. Lucky them on the beautiful Muzzer. Good morning. You can tell the Brisbane people not to worry about sandbagging. We did this during the Murray River floods at Walker Flat. We used 850 sandbags, and all they did was purify the water that flooded and then totally destroyed the downstairs level of our shack. Then we had to get rid of the bloody things after the flood. We wasted a month of our lives filling and stacking sandbags for no result. Next time we're just going to leave the doors and windows open. Good text there, Ian and Jen. Thank you.
Let's check traffic. Thanks to RWC Adelaide. If you're thinking about selling your commercial property and need advice, we'll talk to the experts at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
She's looking the goods for the rain today. We're accident breakdown free, so a cracking start to a Wednesday. Do have some works to look out for you. Find them at Gilman, Eastern Parade near Francis Street. Also in the Parklands, Greenhill Road near Peacock Road, and down to 40 k's for works at Tirok Gardens this morning. Kensington Road near Portrush Road. Busy Norwood heading into the town on the parade, and look out for cameras McGill Road, McGill, and Ruddle Street at Kintown. Porto's new loaded garlic wrapper is packed full of deliciousness with juicy chicken tenders, garlic sauce, chips and more, all wrapped up in a toasted pita. Grab yours today at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
All signs are pointing to an April 12 federal election. That's going to be smack dab in the middle of gather round in Adelaide. So why the tip that April 12 is the day? It's not locked in as yet. Well, the Prime Minister cancelled this week's planned meetings of the Expenditure Review Committee, which suggests he scrapped plans for a March budget.
Graham Goodings.
Just come on, call the election. Enough of this dancing around the fire.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Doing day-to-day things online has made our lives easier. Paying bills, shopping, banking. It all makes perfect sense to do online. But what doesn't make sense is doing your will online. It's fraught with potential problems and can leave a mess behind. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes properly. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At Premier Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, Premier Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for Premier Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
Use your outdoor area all year round with Luther House. They're the market leader in transforming your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
A Luther House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight as you need it. Plus, you can use it night and day with options like LED lighting. When the weather turns, automatic rain sensing technology keeps everything dry and protected.
And I'll tell you what, it's worth doing what Will and I did. Go and visit the showroom to see for yourself. It's such a good business, wonderful people, Rod and the team. Everything's made right here in SA from the highest quality materials and then distributed across Australia by this family-owned and operated business.
Make sure you tune in next Wednesday after Rowie and Timmy G for Charlie Dixon's first Driving with Dixon program for 2025. Proudly supported by Rob Webster at Louver House. Call his team today to organise a free, no-obligation design, measure and quote. They'll even come to you. See the light with Louver House. Visit louverhouse.com.au.
Summer's here. Time to get your new Walco pool blanket. Made from quality materials, a Walco pool blanket will keep your pool clean, warm and reduce evaporation. Uncover the savings now. Visit walco.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes after 7. Gee, there's a lot of feedback coming through from Hills residents who have been without water for some time and have some thoughts about the state government's emergency response. Susan Close, just a reminder, coming up after 8:30 today. David Koch not too far away, and Sean Fuster next on David Spears' court appearance yesterday. Seemed very relaxed, David Spears.
I was going to say
court.
that. One thing about David Spears, whatever you think of how he performed or didn't perform as a politician, or whatever you think about the charges that he's facing, he's approaching it all with a spring in his step. He's a very jovial guy. He's a nice guy.
He's a glass half full guy.
He is. He is. I mean, he's facing they're pretty serious charges. I guess they've ended his career. He's no longer a political force. Maybe he's no longer a political force for now. I reckon if David Spears,
if he ran for Black
if he ran for Black as an independent, I reckon he'd win. Probably not what Alex Dighton wants to hear us saying. It's probably not what the Liberal Party wants to hear us saying either.
So he'd need only to come second.
Yeah, which he'd probably...
I reckon he'd beat the whatever Liberal candidate they put up.
Well, the Libs would probably run dead. They might get someone from Glenelg to run again.
Do you reckon David Spears would be in a hurry to do them favours?
Yeah, but...
Maybe he would.
I think that for the Libs, the satisfaction of seeing Labor lose a seat...
That's true. It'd be not be nice.
From little things, big things grow.
Imagine if David Spears ran at the next the election and the only seat that Labor loses to David Spears. That's an entirely believable scenario.
Completely.
Joe and Gawler's called in. Morning, Joe.
Oh, g'day, guys. I was interested in your conversation around the census and particularly, I think you say the 40% rise in people saying they're of no religion. I've worked in Catholic schools for many years and worked with young people in a whole range of areas. And what I've particularly noticed is there certainly isn't a lack of interest or being open to, I suppose you call it faith, but I think they use a different word. They don't use this sort of conscripted, word of being, I'm Christian or I'm what. It's more around language like I'm spiritual or I'm following. And I just wondered with that question, does it sort of leave out a lot of people? Like, is there a question, for example, do you believe in God? I think it'd be much higher than. But people, when you get to that part, there isn't. If you're no longer sort of following a Christian, Sunday mass or whatever every week, you probably naturally think, well, I'm no religion. Whereas I think it's probably a bit deeper than that as well. I think there's more people they just use different terminology now.
I think you're right, Joe. I think you're
Yeah.
right, because from memory on the form it says, are you Orthodox, are you Catholic,
Yeah.
are you Protestant?
Yeah.
Whereas a
Yeah.
lot of people might go, I'm not really any of them, but,
Yeah.
if I was going through a crisis, I might pray. But there's no actual box for them.
No, exactly. And just one final point, I think, Dave, you might support me here. Now, I know there's still a fairly high percentage of Christians and Good Friday footy. It still drives me mad. Now, for the reason being, I don't mind. Look, I'm a Christian, and I have no issue about Good Friday footy. It's the time that they play it. They play the game at 3:00. Now, if any person who has any sort of affiliation knows that that's the most sacred hour. So surely, so Christians could go to the game as well. Could we not play those games later, and then we can all enjoy it? So anyway, just to add that in as well. Sorry.
Because 3 o'clock is the time when Jesus was crucified, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
It's almost a bit of a slap in the face to say, well, you can still come. Well, no, that's really if you are going to, adhere to the solemnity, 3 o'clock is the main, and so you wouldn't be going to the footy. But if it was a bit later, you could go to both, and then it's happy for everyone.
Yeah, good on you, Joe.
Thanks,
Good call.
Joe.
I'm glad you brought up the census again, because I did the research during the 7 o'clock news, and we didn't have time to get to it before. Essentially, the breakdown is this, but it's a bit more complicated. As of 2021, the most common religions, or the categories under the religious question, the census, were Christianity is still number one, 43.9%. No religion is at 38.9%, which is the highest it's ever been. Then you have, if you break down the other categories, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, but for the purpose of the reporting, they just grouped under other religions. So 43.9% Christianity, 10% other religions, 38.9% no religion. But notably, to Joe's point, and that was what makes that an excellent call, according to the ABS, no religion refers to the broad group secular beliefs and other spiritual beliefs, and no religious affiliation. So if you believe in some form of, it's not about what you believe, it's about whether you are you consider yourself part of a religious group, that question. And that's a very subtle distinction. But
so was I right when I said to Joe that there is a box that you can tick that says I am Orthodox or I am...
As a form, well, no, Christianity's just taken as a group.
Oh, so that's the one catch-all category.
Yeah,
okay.
There might be more granular data.
Quite broad, isn't it?
But
get everything from, your old high Anglican to southern US snake handlers.
Actually,
in the one category.
If I just have a look. They do have it.
Is there a box for people who handle snakes?
Not for snakes, but they do have a breakdown. I'm just looking at it with regard to Anglican, Catholic, Uniting Church, Presbyterian, Lutheran, Pentecostal, Salvation Army, and so forth. So they do break it down. The big headline categories are the ones we talk about, and it's an interesting story of the changing nature of Australia. So 1971, it was 86.2% Christian, 6.7% no religion. Now
6.7 to 38% in a generation.
Yeah. Other religions, this tells a story too, 0.8% in 1971, 10% in 2021. That's more than a tenfold increase.
I'd like to hear from our listeners in Hallett Cove or Shido Park or thereabouts. Would you vote for David Spears if you ran as an independent? After the 7:30 news, we'll be talking to Sean about all the latest. But
it's funny because
in the midst of the story, when the Tizer had that amazing exclusive about the cocaine or whatever it was in the kitchen, vehemently denied by David Spears and people like us, to be perfectly frank, chuckling behind our wrists as he was explaining the whole thing was a deep fake. Not so at the Hallett Cove Shopping Centre, because Jade Robram went there and said, so what about this deep fake malarkey? And I was going, yeah, it probably is. He's a great bloke.
And the
He helped me. This is rubbish.
The charges have nothing to do with that video. And even after the charges came out, I remember going to Jetty Road at Brighton and people talking to people and they'd say, oh, yeah, I've just voted. And they say, I would have voted for David Spears. I'm not voting for whoever the Liberal is now. It's unbelievable.
We're not laughing at that sentiment. I think it shows that he's extremely well regarded as a local member.
Let us know. You can stay anonymous. We'll do a snap poll. Sean Fuster's next.
Discover the joy of family connection in the 7-seat hybrid Mazda CX-80. Now yours from a great drive-away price of $59,990 for the CX-80 G40E Pure. Enjoy 3 spacious rows, hybrid efficiency, and the reassurance of driving ANCAP's safest large SUV of 2024. Visit your local dealer to test drive the Mazda CX-80 today. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. See Mazda.com.au for details.
I'm high! Mate.
The Excelsior Hotel has always felt like home. And for seniors, it's always been great value with 20% discount on selected bistro meals. Yep, 20% off. Feeding the whole family? Bring them all Saturday or Sunday for live acoustic music from 5 p.m. And kids eat free. Some conditions apply. The Excelsior Hotel feels like home, but better. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny 31 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Make RAA-approved windscreen repairer Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
The state government will set up 3 water collection points in the Adelaide Hills and is considering a 4th at Aldinga for people living in those areas. Environment Minister Susan Close in Parliament acknowledging the driest summer in 33 years, with 290 millimetres of rain recorded for the year to January, half the average rainfall, and that has caused water tanks on properties to run dry.
As a result of the extreme dry conditions, there have been reports of very high levels of demand for water carting in the Adelaide Hills and FIVEAA region, as well as reports of people having to cart in water for the first time in more than 30 years on their properties.
The opposition has welcomed the announcement. Some people have been going to sport clubs to have showers in what's been the driest summer since the early 1990s. Simon at Kangarilla says while water collection points are welcome, it does present a bigger problem.
How do we get the water from there to our houses so we can actually shower and do all that sort of stuff?
Speaking with David Will earlier. Meantime, the SES has issued a reminder of the danger of trees suffering prolonged heat stress and dropping branches. They say they've responded to 1,277 call-outs for help regarding tree-down jobs, often branches falling on homes, cars and roads. Hundreds of Brisbane residents have spent the night lining up to get sandbags to protect their properties from flooding. Up to 20,000 homes at risk. Tropical Cyclone Alfred crossing the coast late Thursday or early Friday. 400 millimetres of rain forecast and wind gusts of 155 kilometres an hour. This Brisbane resident left frustrated following reports others cutting in line at sandbag queues.
About 2 hours this morning and about 3 hours, and I gave up last night. I didn't know you could just double park over there and come and help yourself.
Elsewhere, supermarket shelves have been stripped bare across the southeast of the state as panic buying kicks in. The Queensland government rushing through legislation allowing supermarkets to restock 24 hours a day. Parts of northern New South Wales could see over a metre of rain within 3 days, resulting in flash flooding if it occurs. The Weather Bureau's Angus Hines says preparation is the key.
So a broad area of heavy rain and damaging wind as Alfred approaches and crosses the coastline, but the most significant impacts likely to be north of Grafton and south of the Sunshine Coast, near and south of the crossing location.
The Ukrainian president working to defuse tensions between his country and the US, describing his bitter Oval Office exchange with Donald Trump as regrettable. Volodymyr Zelensky says he's ready to return to the negotiating table after the US pulled its military support for Ukraine. A global study has found 1 in 3 children will be obese in Australia without policy change. Young women aged 15 to 24 are the group most at risk of obesity. Dr. Jess Kerr at the Murdoch Children's Research Institute says we're simply eating the wrong food.
We're surrounded by abundant, affordable, ultra-processed foods. You know, they taste pretty good. Things like that. Our environment actually makes it really difficult to live healthily, and it shouldn't be. It should be easy.
Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has accused US President Donald Trump of launching a trade war which will foremost hurt American families. US tariffs on Mexico and Canada have now come into effect. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Tom Rand, good morning.
Good morning to you as well, Matty. Australia has gone down to India in the Champions Trophy semi-final overnight. The Aussies posted 264 thanks to half-centuries from Steve Smith and Alex Carey, but the total wasn't enough. Virat Kohli top scoring with 84 and guiding India to a 4-wicket win. Captain Steve Smith telling Amazon Prime it was a tough contest.
I thought the bowlers did a really good job. They worked hard throughout. Our spinners squeezed and enabled us to take the game a bit deeper than potentially could have gone. It was obviously a pretty tricky wicket to start on batting.
The AFL is postponing opening round clashes in Queensland due to the threat of Cyclone Alfred. Details around when they'll be played are yet to be revealed. To basketball, Melbourne United has clinched a 1-point win over the Perth Wildcats in one of the most thrilling deciders in NBL history. United will now face the winner of tonight's clash between the Illawarra Hawks and South East Melbourne Phoenix. Goals galore in the opening half of the Champions League clash between PSV Eindhoven and Arsenal. The Gunners getting things going in the 18th minute.
Hung up by Rice. Chimbasa! The Dutchman on Dutch soil gives the North London side the lead.
Audio there thanks to Stan. Arsenal led 3-0, but the home side has pulled one back. It's now 3-1 heading into the second half. Elsewhere, it's 1-1 between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Borussia Dortmund is 1-0 up against Lille, while earlier Aston Villa had a 3-1 win against Club Brugge. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA Traffic.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Right down at Croydon Park this morning. It's on the north-south motorway near the Regency Road overpass, causing delays. Also got a few delays with works in the parklands, Green Hill Road near Peacock Road. We are slow at the moment. Brighton Road, Brighton. Quite busy, the Port Expressway at Port Adelaide with the Cameron McGill Road of McGill. Look for the RAA sign at over 400 independent RAA-approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny 31 today, cloud clearing tomorrow 28, sunny for Friday 34, staying that way over the weekend, low 30s into next week. Right now it's 17. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Introducing the Caliente by Beechwood Homes, a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Inspired by the effortless glamour of Palm Springs in California, it's bathed in natural light through clever architectural design. At its heart, a stunning 6-metre island bench anchors a kitchen that's as beautiful as it is functional. This extraordinary display home will be ready to experience soon in Craigburn Farm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Next time you pour Fluorio milk into your coffee or tea, over your cereal or in your smoothie, you're closer to being an SA dairy farmer than you think. 100% of Fluorio Co milk comes from our state's best dairy farmers and their families. So when you buy any Fluorio milk product, you become part of that big family too, doing your bit to support our farming families. Look for the local in your supermarket. Fluorio Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
Now, did you know 1 in 6 Aussies live with some sort of hearing loss? And once you're over 50, that's me, that increases to 1 in 3. So if you've noticed that your loved ones aren't listening or they're becoming distant, well, they might not be ignoring you. It might just be time to visit the experienced audiologists at Can Do Hearing for a simple and painless screening.
You get expert advice on whether you need a full hearing test, and from there, whether or not a hearing aid may in fact work for you. Can Do Hearing let you choose from SA's largest range of hearing aids, which vary in terms of features depending on your goals, and that could range from wanting to hear the doorbell to being able to visit busy cafes comfortably. In fact, they've improved so much in recent years you can hardly even see them. Book an appointment with Can Do Hearing today. You'll find them in Hindmarsh, Noarlunga, South Terrace in the city, and the recently expanded Blackwood Clinic.
And the best part is that profits go to Can Do for Kids to fund therapy services for children with hearing and vision loss. Visit their website, candohearing.com.au.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 8, conducting a little experiment on the police home care text line this morning. Think we can confirm a hunch that maybe David Spears, should he come out of retirement and run for the seat of Black, whether he would have more than a silly chance of winning the seat. Well, Sam on the police home care text line says, I'd vote for Spears. I suspect a few MPs might indulge in a few illegal substances. He's just the only one to get caught. Thank you, Sam.
One here from Russell. People might vote for him when he gets out of jail. I don't know if he's going to jail,
I don't think he's going to jail.
And one here simply says, my religion is the Port Adelaide Football Club and Russell Ebert is the only God.
Maybe that should be a category.
He did win former Gary medals.
That should
more
be a
than you can say about the Almighty.
Yeah, put it on there, ABS.
And we've had a lot of theological messages, including this one from Dave M, who says, I don't believe in God, but at 70 plus a few, I reserve the right to change my mind.
Good, Dave.
You've got to keep your options open.
Let's talk about David Spears' court appearance yesterday. Sean Fuster joins us each and every Wednesday morning.
It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
Good morning to you, Sean. Good to have you on. We had the little preview yesterday. Then it all unfolded, and it was a little different to what we expected. Another charge, a charge relayed against David Spears. Take us through what transpired.
Well, guys, it was a very relaxed and held back kind of hearing where nobody chased anybody down the street with cameras or anything like that. It was very calm and rational. No, look, it was a bit different. Spears arrived with his lawyer, very happy, very upbeat, very chirpy, stopping and chatting to media reporters that he recognised, happily talking to people in the elevator on his way up. When we got into court, though, things changed because Martin Hinton KC, who is the actual Director of Public Prosecutions in this state, turned up to personally handle the case. That's not been the situation with this matter before now, but Mr. Hinton's obviously decided that this is one he needs to handle with his own hands, and he told the court that they had filed a revised information, which is a way of saying fresh court file. All matters have a court file that tells you how many charges a person is facing. You might remember that when Spears was originally charged, it was 2 counts. Then when it got to the Christie's Beach Magistrates Court, indeed just 24 hours before, the Advertiser revealed it had been condensed down into 1 charge. And I think, Will, you and I talked about that yesterday morning when we were going through the history of the case. Mr. Hinton announced in court that we were back to 2 charges again, and the matter would proceed with 2 charges. Will and I discussed yesterday that yesterday was going to be the day where the DPP had to nail its colours to the mast and say exactly what the shape of the case would be going forward. There were all sorts of options. It could go up, it could go down, it could get bigger, it could get smaller. In this case, as we learned when I got to see the court file about 15 minutes later, it was a resurrection, if you will, to pick up on the liturgical theme of what you guys were talking about a minute ago. The original charges were reinstated as they were originally alleged. So now Spears is facing 2 counts of supplying or administering a drug that isn't cannabis to another person. The first offence, as we already knew, alleged to have been taken place at Kingston Park between August 1 and August 10 of last year. The second count, the resurrected count, is alleged to have taken place on August 1st at Kingston Park. No date range.
Hey, Sean, why would the DPP himself feel the need to pull the boots on and go to court in person about this? I mean, you know, whatever David Spears is accused of, he's not El Chapo. It's hardly the drug crime of the century. But is it more because he's such a prominent public figure that maybe the DPP thought that it needed his imprimatur to massage the case through the courts?
Look, there are some people that would tell you that when it comes to the law in this state, a lot of what goes on is an iceberg and we only see what's up the top. And there are those of us who are not in the profession who shouldn't speculate at what lies below the waterline. With that said, I think it's very much that idea of prominence, that idea of if something goes left or right in this case for some reason, we would rather it be the man who makes the decisions actually at the bar table as well, rather than some sort of insinuation being made by the scurrilous that, oh, well, a young prosecutor has muffed it up / an old prosecutor has done something wrong, whatever. Very much a buck stops here kind of moment.
But it's very rare, isn't it? I can't think of a case where the DPP himself has fronted up to court. Not for a while, at least.
Duran Randhawa, Charlie Stevens.
Oh, okay.
That's the last one that Mr. Hinton handled personally that was very high profile.
Of course.
Past DPPs have done it. Adam Kimber, who's now a Supreme Court Justice, used to do it quite regularly. Paul Rofe would do it at times, and of course we all saw how that ended many years ago with the Nemeth situation.
If he wasn't at the TAB, God bless him.
Stephen Polaris was less inclined to do so, but did do so eventually once he got back from Europe for the Carly Ryan trial and the Angelica Guevara trial. So,
yeah, okay, yeah. Amazing recall, mate. You just rattle that stuff off. Can never ceases to astound me.
Does it change much, Sean?
It's going to be sad one day if I go demented, because these are the things I'm going to remember. I'm not going to remember other things.
You won't remember your name, but you remember which DPs have appeared in court.
You'll just be shouting them at a poor nurse somewhere.
Well, the kid says she's going to put Daniel and I in the same nursing home, and Daniel and I have told her that we're going to pretend to be each other then and just really make her life difficult.
You could just be podcasting just for yourselves to eternity. There being 2 charges now, does it complicate things for something like a guilty plea, Sean? I mean, does it materially change the likely sentence in the event something like that was to transpire?
Well, look, we're into the realm of speculation when we get into things like that, but I'll tell you this much. If the DPP has seen fit to resurrect the second charge, which specifies a single point in time, not a date range, that would suggest to me that the evidence that is available to the prosecution, taken at its highest, would be capable of proving beyond reasonable doubt that something happened on that one particular date. And if the DPP has resurrected that count, it means that they feel they have the strongest possible chance of arguing that to be the case, because the DPP's charter says they can only pursue cases that have a reasonable prospect of conviction. So you put that together and you say, okay, well, the date range is fine because that might catch a group of alleged offending, you know, a group of alleged acts, a group of alleged incidents, whatever it is for the particular type of charge. But in this particular case, we can nail our colours to the mast and say, August 1st, 2024, we say something definitely happened and we can prove it beyond reasonable doubt. I wonder whether that's not going to become the focal point of the negotiations that are now ongoing, as the court was told yesterday and as Mr Spears himself confirmed as he left court, that something's come up that allows the DPP and the police to say, you need to explain this date right here to us, or at the very least, we feel we can prove it beyond reasonable doubt. Let's have a discussion from there.
And Sean, there's been no insight yet into how Mr Spears is going to handle this. Like, there's been nothing in any of the hearings so far, because I think the one interesting thing is, given his insistence, and he's at this point in time, that insistence is still live. He insists that this was a deep fake. So his plea is going to shed light on whether he actually still thinks it's a deep fake or not.
Well, I've got to split the wicket with you there, David, because the video that the advertiser published has nothing to do with these charges. You look at the date of the video, which Mr Spears alleges is a deepfake.
So is there? Yeah, okay. So is there?
These charges are separate in time and place from that video. So the video itself doesn't come into the conversation, albeit being part of the context in which all of this has hit the front of the court. So
I guess it would just be sort of like a circumstantial or even an unrelated thing, because the charges are the Riverland charges. So.
That's right.
Conceivably, then, he could say, well, look, those other images, that was just someone was out to get me. Someone cooked them up. But on the other things, yeah, I admit I did it, and I've taken address of my own personal challenges, and I'm working through that. So he could probably sort of have his cake and eat it too, couldn't he?
Look, anything's possible in that regard. At the end of the day, the court will make its decision and the DPP will make its decision based on the evidence that's presented in front of us.
Yeah, sure.
And in front of it, sorry. And that's the allegations that Mr Spears is going to have to answer. But you're right, his counsel haven't said anything one way or the other. Mr Spears has said publicly, repeatedly, that he has never ingested any form of illicit substance and that he would never do something like that. And he's assured, never ever, and he's assured South Australians that he would not and has not done that. How that public declaration will match the way he chooses to deal with these charges is yet to be seen.
If it goes to trial, Sean, can he choose judge or jury? And if he can choose jury, can he choose the jury to come from the seat of black?
From the Hallett Cove Shopping Centre, to be precise.
Well, the sensible answer to that is he can absolutely pick to go trial by judge alone. He can absolutely pick to go jury. And when you select a jury, you have 3 challenges. Your counsel can stand up when a juror's number is called and say challenge. You don't have to explain the reason why you've challenged that juror, and the juror sits back down in the jury box. Counsel do have a list of where people are from and what they're all about. So there is the ability to, I'm not going to say shape the jury, but certainly have a jury custom made in some ways. Now, the way it rolls, though, if you've got 8 people that in the jury pool that happen to come from that area and you don't want them, you can only stop 3 of them. So we have seen some interesting mixes of juries. And from memory, just to get back into what my dementia is going to tell me one day, there's only been one time in South Australian history where there has been an all-single-gendered jury. That was a few years ago, where just by the luck of the draw of the numbers from the box, it was an all-female jury. And the judge took a moment to note that at the end of the proceedings.
I think if his defence counsel's smart, he'll be asking all the jurors when they're being impanelled, have you eaten at the Barnacle Bill on the corner of Patpa Drive and Lonsdale Road in the past year? And if the answer's yes, they're in.
Well, that counts me out.
Good on you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Sean Fewster, Chief Court Reporter at The Tiser, host of the wonderful Just Lawful podcast you can catch each and every week here on 5AA.
It really is the wildest story. It is the craziest story.
It is. Absolutely.
The day it broke, did your phone just start going ping, ping?
That was insane.
Ping? Yeah. That night, at about 11 o'clock when the Tizer story went up online, it was like, what? What?
All right, let's check traffic and come back with more in just a moment. Luva House, the leaders in transforming your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will. At Croydon Park, a breakdown on the north-south motorway near the Regency Road overpass, seeing some pretty solid delays inbound at the moment. Bit sluggish at Kent Town to get over Terrace near Rundle Street for works, and slow at Theberton for works this morning to Port Road near Phillip Street. Getting busy South Road at Carrouta Park, and got cameras Cavan Road, Dry Creek and Halifax Street in the city this morning. Do you or someone you care for need complex mental health support? Sane can help. Choose from a range of free digital and telehealth support services. Visit sane.org today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. With Adelaide's reputation for major events and festivals, it's not just our city that's attracting attention, our property market is too. With a majority of our best buyers last year purchasing from interstate or internationally, this period offers homeowners a unique chance to showcase their property to a wider audience. Whether it's expats returning home or investors drawn to Adelaide's lifestyle and opportunities, at Toop and Toop, we have proven strategies to help you take full advantage of this moment. Our team works proactively to match the right buyers with the right homes, ensuring no opportunity is missed. So if you're thinking of selling, we'd love to help. Visit toop.com.au. Toop and Toop, Adelaide's trusted real estate advisors.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Right now, Toyota Material Handling is having a massive clear out of 2024 plated forklifts. Score great deals across a selected range of new Toyota forklifts currently in stock. Counterbalance and reach forklifts, walkie stackers and more. If it's 2024 plated, get a great Toyota forklift deal. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift. Terms and conditions apply. Offer ends April 30.
Now, fresh seafood, factory direct prices, unbeatable value. I can only be talking about one thing. It's Samtas. This week, satisfy your family and save money. Delicious Coorong mullet. How about this? Catch them at Samtas. Fillets, 20 to the kilo, only $27.99 a kilo.
And Garfish are making their annual run past Port Broughton. Today, excellent fillets from just $47.99 a kilo. Plus, Samtas has Adelaide's largest display of fresh ocean-caught seafood that you have to see to believe.
And don't forget Adelaide's best deal of deals. 4 kilos, still just $60. Tassie salmon, barra, flathead, New Zealand dory, salt and pepper squid and more. Mix match, always $60.
Now, this is exciting. How about this? For the long weekend, there's an exclusive special for 5AA listeners. Half a kilo packs of ready-to-eat smoked New Zealand mussels meat, trevally, snapper or brim fillets, 2 packs for $15 and only till Sunday. That is incredible value.
Samtas Seafoods, 201 Richmond Road, Richmond. I'll see you there. Factory direct prices, open 7 days. For top quality seafood, huge variety and the best value, it is always Samtas.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Luva House. Our Luva House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Luva House. luvahouse.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
6 minutes to 8, breaking at 8, coming up after 8 o'clock. If you live in the hills or on the Fleurieu and you are someone who is not connected to SA Water and have been at the mercy of the access to water carters, we'd like your view on what the Environment Minister, Dr. Susan Close, announced yesterday with regard to emergency access to water for people. You might think it's a great idea. You might think it falls short of what's expected. You might have a thought on how the government have handled this, whether they've dragged their feet a little bit or indeed whether it's been adequate in your view. Whatever it might well be, the Environment Minister is coming on after 8:30, so we'd love you to be part of that chat. 8223 0000.
Well, amid all the uncertainty over the future of the war in Ukraine, the Ukrainian ambassador to Australia is still making the time to come over to Adelaide today. He's going to be the keynote speaker tonight at a fundraiser at the Marion Hotel, which is looking at raising money for Ukrainian schools which have been damaged in some cases completely destroyed by Russia's illegal invasion of this democratic country. Jenny Hurley from the Hurley Group, the great Hurley Group, who own the Marion, the Ark and a whole bunch of other pubs. The Hurley Group are hosting it. We've got Jenny on the line now. Jenny, good on you and Peter for getting involved. I know that not long after the war started 3 years ago, you had that wonderful night at the Arca Bar where Peter Malinauskas was there and welcoming a lot of the displaced Ukrainians who came here as refugees. I imagine a lot of those new Aussie Ukrainians, they'll probably be heading along tonight too.
Yes, we've got quite a few Ukrainians coming, of the local, and a lot of our Australians who've been here for a long time of Ukrainian heritage. But also we've got a lot of just ordinary Aussies coming along to support this endeavour of rebuilding schools that have, like the area that we're working in was occupied by Russia during a period, so a lot of damage was done by those despicable people.
Yeah, it's just appalling what they've been through. It's a bit, as I was saying at the start, was it logistically touch and go, making sure that the ambassador could still come, because he would have so much on his plate right now trying to work out what is or isn't happening with the war.
Yeah, well, we did message him a few times to say you're still able to come, but I think he's very much getting the word out about what hopefully can end the war and Russia can stop shooting bombs across Ukraine.
Yeah, totally. So is it sold out tonight, or if people still want tickets?
No, but people can still come along. We've had very generous support from local wineries and food producers, so and the chef's pretty good at if we need to stretch the food offer a little bit more, we can find some products to serve up. It's going to be a good night. We've got some great auction items too. For the advertisers donated a box at Adelaide Oval for a footy game, and
yeah, right, excellent.
Lion Brewing have donated a trip to the Melbourne Cup into the Birdcage on Melbourne Cup Day, which is a huge prize.
That's a terrific prize, and it's in that beautiful because obviously the Marion only a few years ago you did that amazing development out the back.
Yeah,
it's out the back in the Secret Garden and Glasshouse. So it'll be a wonderful spot to get together for such an important cause.
And we're going to have a wonderful MC in David Pemberton.
Well, it was sounding like a really classy night until you snuck that one in, Jen. But I'll suit up and I'll try to mimic my co-host here and act like an actual professional for a change. But such a good cause, and I'm thrilled to be part of it, Jenny. So I'll see you this evening.
Yeah, thanks, David. Bye.
No worries, Jen. It was amazing. My parents came to that dinner, the one I mentioned at the Arca Bar, and Mum was sitting next to this woman called Natalia, who'd only been here for weeks. And she came here as a refugee from Ukraine, and Mum still catches up with her and helped her out because she didn't have clothes and stuff like that, so Mum dug out a whole bunch of old clothes and gave her stuff. But in the time she's been here, one of her sons was killed in the war.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Mum just got this call out of the blue from her. I mean, imagine having to deal with that. You're on the other side of the world. And you're living down at Henley Beach, and you get a phone call, your son's dead.
There's this extraordinary, poignant, and really moving display in Kyiv at the moment. They put where there's one flag, a Ukrainian flag, for every soldier that's died in the conflict, and you can imagine how big that display is now. It's just awe-inspiring and awful, but it's really quite moving.
It should give pause to myopic, Trump-loving drongos who would rather talk about why Mr. Zelensky wasn't wearing a suit the other day, shouldn't it?
You'd hope so. 2 minutes to 8. 5AA News is coming up. Breaking at 8 next.
Don't let the sun set on your energy savings. With NRG Solar's cutting-edge batteries, your energy independence lasts long after sunset. Enjoy the freedom of solar, even when you're not home. Experience the future of energy. NRG Solar's new warehouse is fully stocked with wholesale solar and battery equipment. See it for yourself. NRG Solar, 1275 South Road, St Mary's, or call 1300 858 160 to explore a brighter, more sustainable tomorrow.
Ready for a fresh start in a location you love? Speak with Rossdale Homes. At Rossdale, we specialise in knockdown rebuilds, giving you a brand new home at your favourite address. Whether it's a single story, 2-story or split level design, we'll custom build a home that fits your style, needs and budget. And with our fixed price contracts, you'll have complete peace of mind from start to finish. Rossdale Homes, your local SA builder, because trust is a must.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future, to build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
Hi, Brett Emmett here for Mosque Mazda. We've been doing deals on a huge range of 2024 plate Mazdas, and we've just received truckloads more of them, all priced to clear. These drive-away deals on new Mazdas include free 12 months rego, free stamp duty, and accessory packs worth $500. Yep, absolutely free. All exclusive to Mawson Lakes Mazda. No gimmicks, just great deals. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
For the best price, quality and same-day service, trust Complete Windscreens. RAA approved, Main North Road, Prospect.
A warning to look out for falling branches. The SES attending almost 1,300 call-outs over the summer. The prolonged drought blamed for mostly gum trees suffering heat stress and dropping branches on houses, cars and roads. Just 290 millimetres of rain recorded over the 12 months to the end of January, and that's just over half Adelaide's average annual rainfall. Meantime, after repeated pleas from residents and politicians, the state government is moving to supply Adelaide Hills and Fleurieu Peninsula residents with water. Collection points to be set up in a user-pay system at Woodside, Brakunga, Centre Grove, with one at Aldinga also under consideration. But Fleurieu resident Carlos telling 5AA Breakfast the red tape appears to be in the way for some water carters.
I'm about down to my last sort of 5,000 litres. I managed to get a water carter, but he told me one of the issues he's having is that he's just come on to the business new, so the government's stuffing around with certification to carry potable water. He said to me, I can get water, it'd be just tap water from, a normal SA line, but if I wanted a certification or if I wanted the water to be 100%, they have to get a certification, and the government seem to be dragging their feet on it.
Tropical Cyclone Alfred remains Category 2 level but appears to be intensifying as it barrels towards southeast Queensland and the New South Wales north coast. Wind gusts of 130 kilometres an hour are at the centre of the weather system. Senior meteorologist Christy Johnson says heavy showers are expected tomorrow when the system makes landfall.
Several hundred millimetres of rain is possible within 6 hours, which could lead to life-threatening flash flooding. We're also expecting damaging winds to develop about the Queensland coast today, then spread further inland tonight and on Thursday.
And Queensland's Premier David Crisafulli says the timing couldn't be any worse.
If that was to happen around the 1 o'clock in the morning time on Friday, there are high tides, about 1 a.m, 1:30 on the Gold Coast. That brings a huge layer of complexity, which is why we are saying to people we will provide the information about what a storm surge looks like if it was to cross at that high tide.
And Brisbane residents rushing to secure sandbags as the threat of Alfred looms, but there are long queues.
Thought I'd be smart, but it didn't work out, yeah. I think everyone had the same idea.
Everyone's kind of got to work together to help get through it.
A man will face court today after he was found in possession of equipment used for property break-ins at Vale Park just after midnight. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says police were patrolling a caravan park on Harris Street after a recent spate of thefts.
They noticed the man was hiding between the caravans and he was holding a pair of bolt cutters. He's attempted to run off but was quickly arrested, searched and found in possession of wire cutters, a torch, also bolt cutters. A 41-year-old from Adelaide, he's charged with being unlawfully on premises and going equipped to commit an offence. He's appearing in court today.
The federal government says every Australian has the right to feel safe regardless of their religion. A 16-year-old boy arrested in WA with threatening a mosque in Sydney's west on social media. The threat referencing the Christchurch mass shooting in 2019. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke says the threat has shaken the Muslim community.
The scale of this and the fact that it brought to mind the threat of what had happened in Christchurch, that massacre in New Zealand a few years ago, just brought a whole new level of concern and fear for people.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And to you as well, Matty. We're going to start with footy. The AFL is yet to reveal when it will reschedule postponed matches for opening round. Tomorrow night's season opener between Brisbane and Geelong has been cancelled, as has Saturday's clash between Gold Coast and Essendon because of extreme weather in Queensland. Aussie rules is not the only code being affected, though, with Friday night's NRL clash between the Rabbitohs and Dolphins being moved from Brisbane to Sydney. That's in anticipation of Cyclone Alfred. Netball also impacted by the wild weather. The Queensland Firebirds and Sunshine Coast Lightning have cancelled their Friday practice games due to cyclone conditions. Well, Australia has been knocked out of the Champions Trophy after going down by 4 wickets against India in Dubai. Captain Steve Smith says they had a much younger team, but that will put them in good shape for the long term.
There's obviously a bit of inexperience in our team, particularly our bowling attack. Some new guys there who I thought did a really good job as well. So, they're going to be better for the exposure to a big event and playing against world-class players.
Arsenal is now in complete control of its Champions League clash against PSV Eindhoven, leading 6-1 with about 20 minutes to play. It's been a great morning for the English clubs, with Aston Villa beating Club Brugge earlier 3-1 away from home. To basketball, Melbourne United is through to the NBL Grand Final after a 113 to 112-point win in Game 3 of their best-of-3 semi-final series. Game 3 of the other semi-final series between Illawarra and the South East Melbourne Phoenix will be played tonight. And Aussie Madison Inglis has qualified for the lucrative Indian Wells tournament after she had a win in qualifying this morning. Fellow Aussies Isla Tomljanovic, Kim Birrell, Daria Saville and Maya Joint will play later this morning, while on the men's side, South Aussie Lee 2 will come up against fellow Aussie James Duckworth. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's traffic.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
At Croydon Park, a breakdown on the north-south motorway. It's near the Regency Road overpass. Monster delays inbound at the moment back to the Wingfield interchange. A little bit slow through the parklands as we speak. Green Hill Road near Peacock Road and getting busy Brighton Road, Acklenell, just as you're approaching Anzac Highway. Cameras Fitzroy Terrace, North Adelaide and McGill Road at McGill. Need a facelift for your business? Quick Copy is giving away $5,000 of signage to 5 lucky businesses. Enter now at wemakepossible.com.au. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now checking Adelaide's sunny weather.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
And it is sunny today, 31, cloud clearing tomorrow, 28, sunny for Friday, 34, and the weekend, and low 30s into next week. Right now, it's 19. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8, breaking 8, not too far away. Koshy's going to be on the show. Talk to him about all the economic craziness of the last 24 hours. Forever changing story on that front. Koshy on the eve of the footy season, of course, as well. Then after 8:30, the state government has announced an emergency solution to issues with regard to access to water for people that rely on rainwater tanks in the hills on the FIVEAA Peninsula. Your take on that is going to be an interesting component, I suspect, of our chat with Dr. Susan Close, the Environment Minister, after 8:30. So keep your thoughts coming through. First, though, it's time for Breaking 8.
I got to say, I find this story hard to believe. So, our next guest, Steve, his father, Lee, who's an elderly man, he was rushed to the RAR a bit over 3 weeks ago to have a brain tumour removed, a very serious brain tumour. Some people would say there was no other kind, but Steve's dad, Lee, was in all sorts of strife. I've seen the images of the tumour that was removed. And anyway, just 1 week, or 8 days to be precise, after Lee had this major brain surgery, he had to be moved from the RAR to the Modbury Hospital to start his rehab. Now, he was still in a fairly troubled state. Obviously, it was a major operation, and he was thinking, well, how am I going to get from the RAR to Modbury? Well, he was told that the only way he could do it was by catching a cab. Now, I don't know if this is standard practice across our public hospital system, But for Lee's family, it was an extremely distressing development. I know that they asked some questions about it as to whether it was an appropriate way for their father to get from the RA all the way out to Modbury. We have Steve on the line now. Steve, great to be chatting to you again. We've spoken a couple of times off the air, mate. Walk us through this whole process. You must have been quite astounded when you found out that that was the way your dad was going to have to make his own way to Modbury.
Yeah, it was a little bit, I guess, disturbing and a little bit unnerving when Mum rang me to say that the bed had been made available at the Modbury Hospital, and she was getting shuffled into an access cab with Dad in a wheelchair.
Yeah. So what sort of shape was your dad in? Obviously, you know, the operation had only happened pretty recently, Steve.
Yeah, so I had to fly back from interstate where I work, and before the operation, and I went and saw Dad, and cognitively he couldn't even recognise me prior to the operation, so post-operation he was starting to sort of get some more of his faculties back, but still was having a whole lot of trouble in being able to walk and being able to feed himself and other bits and pieces, so was certainly not in a shape that I would have thought to be shuffled into a cab and told that you're heading to your new digs.
As his son, Steve, did you sort of assume that for a person, an older person who's just been through such major surgery, was your sort of presumption that, well, normally you'd transfer people by ambulance in a situation like that?
I would have thought probably a slightly more medically appropriate transport vehicle may have been used rather than an access cab.
Yeah, and didn't they say to you when you questioned what was going on? Didn't they say that the test is like, well, if the patient is capable of sitting up, then we put him in a cab?
Yeah, they basically said the appointment needed to be medically necessary, and the need for the ambulance was that the patient needed to be medically necessary to be transported in an ambulance. And when I questioned what the burden of proof there was, they said, well, pretty much if they can sit up in a wheelchair and tolerate the journey, well then, hey, guess what? You get the free cab voucher for the afternoon.
And didn't you also have another encounter with another cabbie where you got the sense that they were sort of, you know, fiddling the system a bit?
Yeah, so Dad had Dad obviously, you know, post surgery has a whole bunch of other medical appointments at all over the state, and he had to get sent to an oncology appointment down at the Lime with Kewen, and I was there and helped Dad get back into the access cab that they were sending him back to Modbury, and then the cab driver asked whether Dad actually had a transport card that he could get access to. So I pulled the lovely cab driver aside and talked to him about the morals of the role for which he was currently playing.
Yeah, totally. Now, Steve, I understand you've spoken to the Shadow Health Minister, Ashton Hearn, about this case. We've got Ashton on the line now. Shadow Minister, to your knowledge, is the use of cabs common practice in situations like this?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And look, I think it's safe to say that the use of cabs has been something that's been used in certain situations for a number of years now. There's no denying that. But much like how you reflected, Pembo, and also speaking with Steve, I think it's really hard to wrap your head around how it's possibly appropriate in this situation, given Lee, who's in his 70s, he was a week post-brain surgery, which is not exactly a minor procedure. So I think I'm personally keen to, and I'm sure your listeners would be too, just to get an understanding of government guidelines on this. And really, was it that potentially an ambulance was ramped and unable to be used, or we know the health system's under so much pressure, did they desperately need a bed? I genuinely don't know, but I do know, of course, that the government promised to fix ramping, they promised to fix health, and like Steve, I'm sure many of your listeners would be ropeable if their loved one was in this situation, and I've got to say I'd be feeling the same way too.
Ashton, are your concerns about the specifics of this case and this particular affliction or ailment, or are they about the entire practice of using taxis to transport people in the health system?
I think there's a place for it, but frankly speaking, if this is the type of thing that is falling through the cracks and taxis are being utilised for, then surely there's got to be a review of the entire system because, if a bloke who's just had brain surgery and a week later is put in an access cab, look, I question whether that's appropriate, and I'm sure many of your listeners do as well. But so I think the government should be looking at this. There are obviously cases where it might be appropriate, but yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around how it's possibly appropriate in this case.
We'll go back to you, Steve. Just to wrap it up, mate, how's your old man going now?
Yeah, look, slowly making good progress, and look, I want to put a huge shout out to the surgical team at the RA that did the surgery for Dad. Like absolute miracle workers, and they've done an amazing job. And the rehab workers up here at the Modbury Hospital are doing some amazing work, getting Dad up and moving, and so every day's positive territory.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. To you, Steve, and Nash and Hearn, also thanks for joining us this morning for Breaking at 8. Surely there's a case where you go, oh, we don't want to put this guy in a cab. I mean, I get that they would use it for, like, if you've had some physical sort of broken leg or something like that, but you're up and about and you're going to go off to Hampstead or something like that, that a cab is fine. But brain surgery?
Yeah,
you should see the size of the damn tumour in this poor bloke's head.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that. And I get it's a sign of a system in a state of disrepair, because I presume that whatever health practitioner is sitting there going, whatever ambulance we use for this is an ambulance that's not getting to something else.
Correct. And at the moment,
so it's a Sophie's choice for people working in health, isn't it?
And you wonder whether there's an unspoken imperative, and something that David Pope really riled the government when he came out and said it's not unspoken, it's mandated. But you do wonder in the current climate whether the last thing you want to do is ever use an ambulance for anything.
I think that might be part of it. And it makes me wonder, we have had, I know we've had stories of people contact us previously who were put in cabs and went, hang on, what? And they were a little surprised. Nothing quite like a bloke who's just had brain surgery coming out and being put in a cab. But I wonder if there are other people listening to this going, that sounds like a story that involving my father or mother or uncle or auntie, or that I had myself, where I thought, I can't believe this person's being put in a cab. If you've got one like that for us. Now, again, if someone's broken their wrist and it's been fixed up and you get put in a cab, I think that's fair enough. But a brain tumour or something of that ilk, let us know. Tell us the story. If you want to remain anonymous, you can do that as well. 8223 0000 or the police home care text line 0448 08 1395. We're going to check traffic, take a quick break, and when we return, David Kosh will join us on 5AA Breakfast. Traffic thanks to Louver House, the leaders in transforming your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will. Still got really big delays with that breakdown at Croydon Park. It's on the north-south motorway inbound near the Regency Road overpass. Delays back to the Wingfield interchange. Avoid that way in if you can this morning. A little bit sluggish at the moment. Main North Road at Enfield getting quite busy. Anzac Highway at the Marion Road intersection. And look out for cameras this morning. Heaslip Road, Anglevale. I've got one setting up right now. South Terrace in the Parklands. Stop drink driving, or South Australia Police will stop you. With more patrols and more driver testing stations, think road safety. A message from the Government of South Australia. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
Our Sacca men win their first one-day cup for 15 years. It was outstanding. It was a 64-run win. Bring a little bit of joy to South Australian cricket. And to be fair, we have been starved of it. And it was 2012 that they last won it. Yeah, 11, 12, so 13 years. Yeah, 13 years.
The 5AA Sports Show.
It was another total team effort.
Yeah.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
If you appreciate sporty handling in a compact car that puts the fun back into driving, you'll love the game-changing Corolla at Jarvis Toyota. It features a 1.8-litre fuel-efficient hybrid electric system engine, plus cutting-edge safety advancements. And every new Corolla comes standard with capped price servicing. Exhilarating Corollas are in stock and ready to go. Take a test drive today at the new Jarvis Toyota, Brighton Road, Somerton Park.
Gone are the days of bulky solar panels. NRG Solar is ushering in a new era of sleek, efficient solar technology. With just a few panels, harness the power of the sun like never before. The equation is simple. More efficiency, more savings. Join the revolution with NRG Solar. Discover simplicity at 1275 South Road St Mary's or online at nrgsolar.com.au. NRG Solar, for a brighter, more sustainable tomorrow.
Now, are you in the market for a new MG? Speak to Ben at Adelaide Hills MG in Bridgewater first. Ben and his team simply won't be beaten on price and service. Let Ben walk you through the MG range, stylish, reliable and packed with modern tech. With advanced safety, smart features and unbeatable value, MG deliver a smooth, enjoyable ride every time. And Adelaide Hills MG will make it easy to buy with great finance deals and cars in stock ready to go.
Remember, don't sign anything until you've put Adelaide Hills MG to the test. Get good old country service at amazing city prices. That's the Adelaide Hills MG difference.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
And they could never tear us apart.
David Kosh on 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes after 8. I tell you what, we have no shortage of global economic questions to ask David Kosh these days, and it seems to be on a changing day-by-day basis. Koshy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jen.
Sometimes we worry when it's not footy season. We think, what's on the agenda? It can't be RBA every week. But it can be trade war a lot of days at the moment. Yesterday we saw what happened to the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ following Donald Trump's announcement about tariffs on Canada, Mexico and China. We obviously have parochial interest in Australia. What do you foresee as the flow-on effects for our economy, given what we're seeing over in the US?
Okay, for everyone's hip pocket, the very real flow-on is interest rates going back up again. And that was reinforced in the Reserve Bank board minutes that came out yesterday from the previous board meeting. Remember Michelle Bullock, the boss of the Reserve Bank, saying, yes, we decided to cut rates, but it wasn't a certainty from us. We had a big discussion about it because have we knocked inflation on the head, particularly with Donald Trump talking about trade wars? Because remember, an increase in tariffs means prices go up. You know, he puts a tariff of 20% on an import into the US, and the price of those goods will go up 20% to the US consumer. Now, US consumer has a choice, buy local or buy an import, if there is a choice, and pay 20% higher. Now, Canada's doing exactly the same thing. Mexico's doing exactly the same thing. And you get into a global trade war, prices go up, inflation comes back, and then there's a very real prospect that all our interest rates will start to go back up again, rather than continuing the cutting cycle. So for all of us, that's the very, very real hip pocket consequence, let alone the economic damage that history tells us comes from trade wars. It isn't good for anyone. It is just balmy what he's doing, and I think everyone agrees with it.
Behaviourally, Koshy, it's hard to get a bead on how the president is or isn't going to behave. I mean, Mexico and Canada probably thought that, well, okay, we've had frank discussions amid the threat of tariff hikes about our border policy. So Mexico sent 100,000 soldiers to the border. Canada's done more too to crack down on fentanyl. And then they sort of spring out of bed yesterday and hear the news that Trump's going to impose the tariffs anyway. Where does that leave a country like ours? Do you think we can actually assume that we have a special relationship with Washington still?
No, not at all. He's an absolute wild card. You know, imagine being Zelensky in the Ukraine at the moment. You have just been hung out to dry in favour of Putin. But, you know, Zelensky is properly elected. Putin's a dictator. But the fact that the most powerful man on earth to justify his decisions just makes stuff up is beyond belief. he gets stuck into Zelensky. It's almost like we're back to propaganda wars, that you can't believe anything that we read about in history. Zelensky is a dictator with only 4% popularity. Well, he's an elected head of state with a popularity of 65%. So, what can you believe these days? And markets hate that. Financial markets hate uncertainty. They hate a wild card. They want people to make sort of conservative decisions or proper decisions and stick to them and give some sort of direction on where future policies are going. It's like a reality TV show. You just don't know where it's going to turn.
Are there opportunities for people that are investing money, Koshi, given the uncertainty of the moment, though? Because I'll just note there's some weird... It's all weird. This is very strange.
Yep.
I mean, we haven't seen the US undertake a run of tariffs like this since the 30s. European defence stocks, for example, are going gangbusters all of a sudden because there's all this speculation that European defence budgets are going to go up.
Gold stocks are going up. Gold prices
I was going to say defensive stocks,
Yeah.
defensive assets like gold. Is that where the opportunity lies at a time like this?
It is, and there is a flight to safety when there's uncertainty always, and you're seeing that at the moment. So, defensive stocks here in Australia, Austal, the big shipbuilding company based in Perth, but shipbuilding operations in the US could be a beneficiary. Our gold miners, we're one of the biggest gold producing countries in the world. But it's sort of far outweighed by all the uncertainty, and you just don't need this. And everyone, and Will, you knocked it on the head. We haven't seen this trade issues and trade wars since the 30s. A lot of people are saying these are all the hallmarks of not to be too indelicate, of a fascist leader in the United States. Who would have thought? And look where the 30s got us. If you want to look at the really dark side of the consequences, it can be pretty horrible.
Hey, Koshi, amid all this global uncertainty, and obviously there's a lot of talk about the relationship, not just with Russia and the US, but China and how that's all planning out. Has Port made a decision about the future of the China game?
Oh, look, it's been on hold for quite a while. Pandemic obviously had an impact. The trade war with China, Australians weren't welcome, let alone our beef and our wheat and our wine. Look, it was a great experience for us. We did the vast majority of it on our own. It's never completely off the table, but at the moment, excuse me, we've got other priorities and sort of a bit more certainty with some of the developments we're doing and things like that. So China was always seen as developing a new revenue source to make sure our footy department was always fully funded. Since that was put on hold, we've sort of turned our attention to other ways of doing that.
So do you think you'll have
a lot of our time?
Can you see? Could you see another game happening there, or do you think it's an idea that's spent now?
No. I can see another game there. We would love to be involved. We just don't want to do it on our own. It would be in the interest of the government to help us out, or Austrade, or...
Well, given the way things are panning out in Queensland, I don't know how you say zero in Mandarin. How about round zero up there? There's no cyclone heading towards China at the moment.
No, exactly right. So, look, as I said, great experience. It was a really positive thing for us to do at the time. Happy to be involved again with a group of people rather than us just do it on our own.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it was a risky and radical idea. I thought it was a cool idea. I like the idea, but it was, doing it with Port doing all the heavy lifting economically probably doesn't make much sense.
No. But it offers great opportunity.
And have you covered up the GFG logo yet?
Yeah, well, we're pretty close to getting an outright decision on that. Looking at the contracts with the administrator, because it's a whole bunch of different companies are involved. So before round one, that'll all be sorted.
Okay, good on you, Dave. David Kosh, Compare the Market Economic Director and Port Adelaide Football Club Chairman, President.
Coming up after 8:30, the Environment Minister, Susan Close, who's going to be joining us on the program to talk about solving the situation in the hills on the Footy with regard to access to water for people that live off the grid. We'll get to that. A couple of police home care texts maybe before 5AA News, though.
A few of the Trump lovers fired up by Koshy's account of what happened between Trump and Zelensky. Pretty sure what we know they're all going to say. Don't believe every word out of Koshy's mouth. I'm for Trump. Good on you, Dan. Thank you. And one here, Dave and Will, can you please ask, as I'm dumb, if prices go up, I spend less, then to encourage me to spend less, we put interest rates up, so I spend less twice. I am dumb. Is there a better way? That's not a dumb question. That's a smart question, Webby.
Yeah, but I think with Webby, you kind of got it. That's they need you to not just be able to partake. They need everyone just to instantly stop spending. That's why it goes up. If people just get accustomed to higher prices, the economy gets a momentum all of its own. You need a circuit breaker, and that's why rates go up.
There's a lot of feedback about our breaking at 8. Some people are saying that they have, in the past, had operations where soon after they were transported by cab and didn't have any issues. Others, though, have said that they were in situations where an ambulance was deemed most appropriate. And Rick in Aldinga Beach says, re the transfer of that patient, the question should be asked is, was there a nurse travelling with them? Because if not, that puts so much potential pressure onto the driver. Thanks for that, Rick. Keep them coming.
Andrew sent us a text saying, aren't we, the US and us working with tariffs up to the 80s, the sort of trade liberalisation policies of the Hawke-Keating era and so forth. Yeah, there wasn't to say there weren't tariffs up until the recent era, but if you go back to the 30s, Andrew, you might like to read about the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of the 30s, and that period was the sort of more widespread, broad-based, trade protectionist position that Donald Trump's adopting compared to we've got one on the car industry, for example, or one here or there to protect certain industries. The sort of broad-based tariff on everything, you have to go back that far for something similar. 5AA News is coming up. Back shortly.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 with the 8:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Chipped windscreen. RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
Concern about the use of taxis for patients who've undergone surgery. Steve's dad, Lee, had undergone surgery for a brain tumour at the Royal Adelaide Hospital, but had to change to Modbury to begin rehabilitation. Steve telling Breaking at 8 the surprise came when the hospital called an access cab for his dad.
It was a little bit, disturbing and a little bit unnerving when Mum rang me to say that the bed had been made available at the Modbury Hospital, and she was getting shuffled into an access cab with Dad in a wheelchair.
Shadow Health Minister Ashton Hearn says a review is needed.
I think there's a place for it, but frankly speaking, if this is the type of thing that is falling through the cracks and taxis are being utilised for, then surely there's got to be a review of the entire system because, if a bloke who's just had brain surgery and a week later is put in an access cab, look, I question whether that's appropriate.
Residents on the east coast in Queensland and New South Wales are being warned to brace for the worst as Cyclone Alfred bears down. The Category 2 system is tracking towards the coast at 16 kilometres an hour. It's set to make landfall near Brisbane tomorrow or Friday. Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles says the Defence Force is on standby to help.
I spoke with the Chief of the Defence Force to make sure that Defence was ready to work as closely as possible with National Emergency Management Australia so that we are able to respond as quickly as possible. But even before any requests are made, I want to make sure that Defence is doing all its own planning so that the response is immediate.
The state opposition has welcomed a government announcement to provide water relief for Adelaide Hills and Fleurieu Peninsula residents whose water tanks have run dry. Some people have been going to sport clubs to shower in what has been the driest summer since the early 1990s. The government is setting up bulk water collection points under a user pay system, and the SES issuing a reminder of the danger of trees under prolonged heat stress dropping branches. They say they've responded to almost 1,300 requests for help regarding tree-down jobs, often branches falling on homes, cars and roads. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country is ready to come to the negotiating table with the US again. Nine's US correspondent Reid Butler.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he stands ready to work under President Trump's, quote, strong leadership to make a deal. He regrets that blow-up in the Oval Office but stops short of apologising as per Trump's demands. In the post to X, Zelensky wrote, "Our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happened this way. It is time to make things right." This comes after Trump announced the immediate suspension of more than $1.5 billion in US military aid to Ukraine. The war will likely be on the agenda tonight when the US president makes his first address to Congress since returning to office.
The Pope remains in a stable condition after suffering 2 episodes of respiratory failure. The Vatican saying the 88-year-old has not had any further episodes. He remains in hospital, receiving treatment for double pneumonia. A worrying new study has prompted calls for an urgent overhaul of eating habits, with 1 in 3 children to be considered obese without policy change. Young women 15 to 24 are the group most at risk. Dr. Jess Kerr from the Murdoch Children's Research Institute says there are a couple of main culprits.
Plenty of sugar, plenty of salt, so it makes it really difficult to stop eating those once you start. We're actually calling on, with this paper, changes at the overarching system level rather than encouraging our people, our children, our adolescents to do the changing. We're really saying it's systems that need to change.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
To make room for renovations, Agostino Mitsubishi are having a stock clearance sale on now, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Footy not far away, Tom Wren.
Getting close, isn't it, Matty? Port Adelaide, they're going to train this morning as they continue their preparations for their round 1 clash next week against Collingwood. Meantime, Chairman David Koch has told David and Will any ideas of resuming games in China have been put on hold for now.
It's never completely off the table, but at the moment we've got other priorities and sort of a bit more certainty with some of the developments we're doing and things like that.
Well, Carlton Chief Executive Brian Cook isn't concerned by the Blues' injury toll. Charlie Curnow, Corey Durden, Nick Newman, Mark Pitnett and Jagger Smith will all miss next week's first game against Richmond.
The reality in AFL footy is when you're training on a threshold for about 3 months, you do get injuries, and every club that I'm aware of has got their handful, and so have we. So I wouldn't be overreacting to that yet.
Meantime, the AFL has signed off on Gold Coast's appointment of coach Damien Hardwick's partner as a marketing consultant at the Suns. Questions were being asked if her salary should be included in the club's soft cap. To cricket, Australia's out of the Champions Trophy after losing to India by 4 wickets in Dubai. Virat Kohli named man of the match for his 84. To soccer, Arsenal has 1 foot in the quarterfinals of the Champions League following a 7-1 rout of PSV Eindhoven. The Gunners helped by some horrific defending from the home side.
And it's still Marino. Oh dear. And this is going to count, you know. Calamitous, heinous defending from the Dutch side.
Audio thanks to Stan, the return leg to be played next week. In this morning's other games, Aston Villa beat Club Brugge 3-1, Real Madrid got over Atletico Madrid 2-1, while Borussia Dortmund and Lille drew 1-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now having a look at the roads around Adelaide.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
At Wingfield, a breakdown on the North South motorway near the Grand Junction Road exit. Unley 2-car crash on Unley Road near Edmund Avenue. In the Parklands, a little bit slow at the moment. Green Hill Road near Peacock Road for work, speeds at 40 k's. They got cameras to Kettleville Terrace in the Parklands and Edinburgh Road at Edinburgh. You'll love this. A GYG brekkie burrito for just $8. Free range scrambled eggs, bacon, 2 hash browns, jack, cheese and fresh pico. Just $8 at Guzmani Gomez. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today. Cloud clearing tomorrow, 28. Sunny Friday, 34. Same over the weekend. Low 30s next week. Right now, it is 23. 5AA, always Adelaide.
The King Anniversary Sale ends soon. Save up to 50% on selected Australian-designed award-winning furniture. So why buy ordinary furniture when you can come home to King? Sale ends soon. Shop online or visit a King Living showroom today.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA, always Adelaide.
If you need a window, and not just anything will do, just call Statesman Windows, factory direct to you.
Statesman Windows, a local homegrown success story, has been serving home renovators and builders right across SA for over 45 years. Their success is built around family and service, consistently providing the highest quality products at real value for money. Call Statesman Windows.
Windows winning where you want them. Oh, windows winning where you want them.
Ignition for Men. Adelaide's home of impeccable class and style offer a range of suits by leading Italian brands, including tailor-made wedding packages for the groom and groomsmen. Order 3 tailor-made suits and pay just $799 for each. Order 4 or more for just $749 per suit. Phenomenal value for a quality tailor-made suit. See Ignition for Men for tailor-made wedding packages. 54 Paynham Road, Stepney. ignitionformen.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Use your outdoor area all year round with Louver House. They're the market leader in transforming your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
A Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight as you need it. Plus, you can use it night and day with options like LED lighting. When the weather turns, automatic rain sensing technology keeps everything dry and protected.
So do what we did, that's Will and I we went down, looked at the showroom and caught up with Rod and the team. Wonderful people. Everything's made right here in SA from the highest quality materials and then distributed across Australia by a family-owned and operated business.
And make sure you tune in next Wednesday after Rowie and Timmy G for Charlie Dixon's first Driving with Dixon program for 2025.
Awesome.
Proudly supported by Rod Webster at Louver House. Call his team today to organise a free no-obligation design, measure and quote, and they'll even come to you. See the light with Louver House. Visit louverhouse.com.au.
I'm high! The Excelsior Hotel has always felt like home, and right now you can tuck into a schnitty and a pint for just $22 in the front bar. Not bad, hey? That's a schnitty and a pint for just $22, only in the front bar. Make sure you check out their $20 jugs of the month too, plus live acoustic music every Saturday and Sunday from 5 till 8 p.m. The Excelsior Hotel feels like home, but better. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
18 to 9. Well, late last week we were inundated with calls from Hills residents and those on the FIVEAA as well who were simply out of water or running dangerously low in their tanks, not connected to the grid. Are they victims of this long, dry conditions we've been having in South Australia over the course of the last 12 months? Things coming to a head quite dramatically in some cases, with people having to potentially leave their homes to go somewhere where they have access to water. There are water carters. Private operators that can get you water. However, they are run off their feet, stretched to their absolute limits, and people were getting desperate. Well, following that conversation last week, the state government yesterday announced an emergency response to those conditions, establishing temporary user pays bulk water collection points in the hills for people not connected to SA Water. They're going to be staffed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. We've been asking you throughout the morning, is that the end of the issue for you? Does that alleviate your concerns, or does the government need to be doing more? You can call in right now and chat with the Environment Minister and Deputy Premier, Dr. Susan Close, who joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Dr. Close, good morning. Can we start by just clarifying one thing? Because some of our listeners have been asking about the potential for those on the FIVEAA to get access. All the other points to this point have been announced in the Adelaide Hills. Are you any closer to working out what a distribution point might be that's more amenable to them?
Yes, we are looking at a site around Aldinga, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to talk more about that pretty soon. Part of the challenge is making sure that we've got a place where the water pressure is really good for SA Water so that it can come out nice and quickly and steadily, doesn't affect other households too much. and is really safe in terms of road access. So part of the cost for this for government is going to be traffic management, so that we're making sure that if people are queuing, we're not having too much of a bottleneck and creating danger for other people using the roads. And look, the truth is, we don't know how many people are going to be using these sites that we've got, the 3 in the hills, and then perhaps the 4th in Aldinga. We don't know if we're going to be run off our feet with long queues, or whether people are largely managing. They might come and get a bit of water, but they're managing with the other sources that they've got. Neighbours, for example, are opening up their houses when they're on mains water. We've also got football clubs opening up for using showers. Like, people are incredible, and it shouldn't surprise us, but it is wonderful to see how communities just pull together.
Does it feel, though, like you might need something further down? Just based on the calls that we've been getting, Minister, we've had a lot of people in Yankalilla, the Inman Valley, further south down the Fleurieu towards Cape Jarvis, who are telling us that they're short. Like, going from down there up to Aldinga is still a reasonable sort of trip, given you're talking about large volumes of water.
That is true, and what we're trying to do is be really flexible in how we adapt to what we see. So starting with these 3, exploring that 4th, and seeing what's happening and hearing from people is really important. So we're wanting to be helpful. We're not wanting to overgear this so that we're, having people working 7 till 7 without anyone coming to get any water, but we're wanting to be responsive. So it's really important that we hear from people whether this is working, whether they need more. I'll point out that we're also at the same time working with the water carters. So we've found a transport company that has additional tankers, and we're trying to connect those with the water carters in case they could just flex up for a while so that they can cut down on that wait time. And also working with SA Water on some more points of access for the water carters, because one of the challenges we've been hearing is the length of time it takes for the turnaround. So they're filling up their tanker, the pressure's down where they're doing it, and it's taking longer than it used to. So we're working with SA Water on identifying places they can come and supercharge their tankers. Again, the water carters they're family businesses. They're the way that this is supposed to work. But I think what's happened is that everyone suddenly realised at once that they need to order, and not realising that everyone would be doing it at the same time. The wait time's just blown out, and it's not okay for people. We need to step in and help them, but we need to make sure that it sort of gets back to a normal way of managing water as quickly as possible.
Minister Victor in the Hills has called in to chat. Morning to you, Victor.
Oh, good morning, guys, and Dr. Close. Unfortunately, I've just got a train going past me at the moment. You can probably hear in the background there. Bad timing here, I'm afraid.
No, we can hear you, Victor. Go ahead.
Go for it.
Terrific. Look, I don't think the access points are the issue, because the existing water carters have access to a lot of those taps underneath the road plates there. The issue is the carting itself, and setting up a number of points for people to bring their lunch bottles along ain't going to cut it for a shower or flushing the toilet. I mean, this is a ill thought of, in my opinion, and in many others, not a well thought of plan. What's needed are several of the 700 odd CFS fire trucks sitting in their sheds 99% of the time, full of potable chlorinated Adelaide tap water, free of any foams, because the foam's only injected by Venturi after it leaves the tank. And to my mind, I can't think. This is an emergency situation. People are having to leave their homes just as they would for a bushfire. This is an emergency. Why are we not getting that service for the levy we're paying?
Dr. Close?
Yeah, so thank you, Victor, and that's good advice. And we are looking at all the different sources for tankers that are available to us, and we'll continue to do that. But I would just point out, it's not about people bringing small water bottles to fill up so that they can drink. What we're expecting is that people will have those intermediate bulk containers, so IBCs, and usually about 1,000 litres, a kilolitre, and that they'll fill up that sort of size so that they can supplement their private storage. People have been calling for it, so we're being responsive to that, but we are exploring all the others, and Victor's absolutely right. Getting more tankers on the road is going to help the water carters move through more quickly, and so we are looking at all options, including with the fire trucks.
Victor, thank you. Let's go to David. Good morning, David. You've got the Environment Minister.
Good morning, Minister.
Okay.
David, what was your question?
Look, I live in the Clare Valley area, and we actually just experienced the driest 12 months on record. And actually, if you look at the Bureau of Meteorology records, the actual mid-north area and some of the areas mid-north have had their lowest recorded rainfall of all time. Now, it's interesting that it's a great initiative that you're doing in the Adelaide and the Footy Hills area, but there's many people in the mid-north and many areas around the state that have been drought-affected and don't have access to water. Water carting, similarly, is because we don't have the same services and resources here, that it's very hard to get any access to water to the community whatsoever. So I was wondering if the Minister was thinking of attacking other areas across the state just as well as the Adelaide Hills.
Yes, and you're absolutely right to point out that this has really started from the problem of the dramatic decrease in rainfall that we've experienced through the southern part of South Australia, all along that coastline down to the southeast. And I will say that in the council areas, the councils have got access to standpipes and metered watering that people can go and fill up at. That's been in place for some time. It's an example of councils really lifting their weight and being involved as well. We're seeking to do that through the Hills and Fleurieu area. We're spending time with councils, but we couldn't wait for all of those issues to get, those conversations to be resolved before offering this. But we are interested in knowing what's happening in other parts of South Australia. The challenge in the Hills and Fleurieu really has been it's not a lack of water supply in the sense that Adelaide has enough water. We've got the desal plant cranking. It's what it's there for these dry periods. And so we haven't got a lack of supply. What we've got is a crisis in the capacity to deliver because people have ordered all at once, understandably, because they've all gone, oh my God, I haven't got enough water for my house. They've put in an order and it's now blown out that wait time. So what we need to do is ease that pressure, that bottleneck that's occurred. But at the same time, we are doing some thoughtful work on how we manage if this is turning into a more extended drought. Bureau of Met, it still is saying that for Southern Australia it should return to normal rainfall in the next 3 months, but I think we all know that weather forecasting is not perfect, and so we are preparing more seriously for that, a more extended period for how households are going to manage.
Susan Close, the Deputy Premier and Environment Minister, and also Victor and Dave from the Hills and the Clare Valley joining us there. Thank you for your time.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to the great people at Louver House, the leaders in transforming your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will. At Golden Grove, a smash on Yatlavar Road near Golden Grove Road. Wingfield, a breakdown on the north-south motorway near the Green Junction Road exit. And Unley, two-car crash on Unley Road near Edmund Avenue. Slow going at the moment, Marion Road at the Anzac Highway intersection. The parade busy driving through Norwood too, pretty normal. And got a camera south tourist in the city. That's there right now. Ready for moving made easy? Switch to Alinta Energy online in minutes and enjoy a great value energy plan. Visit alintaenergy.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tiled roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock-solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Steinborner Hyundai has always been well worth a trip, and now there's another great reason to visit. Hyundai's full range of hybrids. Steinborner Hyundai has a hybrid to suit every driver, from the hybrid i30, the Kona, the Tucson, as well as the all-new Santa Fe hybrid family-sized SUV. Experience the difference at Steinborner Barossa and Clare, with outstanding service and a great range of vehicles. And you'll see why. Steinborner Hyundai is well worth the trip. Steinborner.com.au.
Home maintenance is exhausting. You need to know a plumber, an electrician, a handyman and a renovator, or why not just swap all those numbers for one? Precise Plumbing and Electrical.
From plumbing and electrical work to pipe relining, bathroom renovations and handyman services, they're your one-stop solution with 25 years worth of happy customers.
They'll service all areas of Adelaide too, and they'll be there on time every time with an expert in your field of need, ready to do top-notch work. In fact, they're so confident of their expertise that their workmanship comes with a lifetime warranty.
With free quotes and upfront fixed pricing, Precise Plumbing and Electrical is a name you can trust and the only name you need to remember. Visit preciseservices.com.au.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months, At Premier Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, Premier Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for Premier Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
Hey guys, did you know that on every Austrac campus camper trailer, your barbecue bench doubles as a windbreak? And with 2 gas bayonets at the rear, we've got you covered for any kitchen cook-up.
Austrac Campus.
Hyundai's Keys to Summer event is here. Unlock offers across a wide range of Hyundai models. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6 to 9 fuel watch on this Wednesday morning. It's better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Download the RAA app and start saving today. The Mobile Torrensville, Henley Beach Road's at $1.63.5. That's pretty good. The Caltex Hallett Cove, Ramrod Avenue, $1.65.5. The Ready Express, McLaren Vale Main Road, $1.68.9. The Ex-Convenience in Elizabeth on Ridley Road is at $1.69.52, so you should be able to get it for under $1.70 today. Diesel, you're looking in the mid to high $1.70s. The Liberty Windsor Gardens Northeast Road is as good as you're going to find it at $1.75.5, and the Liberty Camden Park Morfett Road is at $1.79.5. We've been promoting over the course of the last week Double Up for the Doc Day, a charity fundraising day in support of what is the most Australian of inventions in so many ways.
It is,
it's like the meeting point of Australia being a vast country, Australians being incredibly charitable and community-minded people.
And enterprising.
And able to engage with and use new technologies. Because if you go back some 96 years, the idea of flying planes out into the middle of nowhere to help people out was pretty novel around the world, and in more densely populated parts of the world, it wasn't actually required. This is...
My mum in the 60s worked for the Royal Flying Doctor for a while.
Did she really?
Yeah, and some of the stories she tells about the places that she went to, just so remote. But the reason we're talking about this is that today is Double Up for the Doc Day, and what it means is that if you make a donation, and you can do it by visiting their website, flyingdoctor.org.au, the Royal Flying Doctor, they're trying to raise $300,000, which doesn't sound like a staggeringly huge amount of money. $300,000, and that's enough to fit out new aircraft with medical equipment. And you think, for people who live in these vast farms that... I can remember during COVID doing stories about kids who were, with all the border closures, ended up getting stuck in boarding schools like at Loretto and different places around here. Some of these farms are bigger than the Adelaide Plains area. Some
of the plains are bigger than European countries.
Yeah. I know. It's just amazing. So whatever you can do to get involved, do it, because your donation counts twice.
That's right. It's as simple as going to flyingdoctor.org.au for Double Up for the Doc Day. Anthea Rice is the fundraising manager for the Royal Flying Doctor Service and joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Anthea, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me on.
We were just talking about your long and wonderful history, 100th birthday not too far away, but you need the support of the community to keep going, and it's as simple as going to the website, isn't it?
Absolutely. Going to flyingdoctor.com.au today, Double Up for the Doc. This is our second giving day that we've had. We had one last year. We've had one again this year. Phones opened at 8:30. Online donations started at 7, and we were about 90,000 already when I last checked. So we're going well.
Fantastic.
So the target's 300,000, Anthea. What will that pay for? It's not a plane. It's the gear that goes into the plane, isn't it?
Yeah, no, look, I wish I could raise enough money in one day for an aircraft, but this is to fit that aircraft out. So we've got a couple of new PC-12s on order, ready to add to the fleet, and the $300,000 target that we have today is to help fit one of those out with equipment, with supplies, with what is needed to turn that into an intensive care flying machine.
Do you know offhand? What is the fleet? Do you know the figure? How many planes do you have?
Yeah. So we, Australia-wise, we have around 80, but as South Australia, we will go to 20 to 22 very, very soon with the arrival of new aircraft.
Well, we hope you get all the money you need today, because as we were saying, it is a service for which every Australian should be proud that we're the ingenuity and the community-minded spirit to bring it together, and we need a little bit of help to keep it kicking along in 2025 with Double Up for the Doc Day. Just head to the website for the Royal Flying Doctor Service. Anthea, thank you for that. We are out of time on this Wednesday morning. Stay out of the sun. Make sure you cover up like you do with the barbecue to protect it from the sun. The same goes for you. Be sun smart and cover up. Hot and dry again in Adelaide today.
We're getting like Jakarta, where you don't even need to look at the...
It's getting that way, isn't it?
The forecast.
Graham Goodings is coming up next.